Ladies and gentlemen.
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 Can I please have your attention?
Right now, showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, set, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn ready, sit back, relax, because it's about time for Chatting with George Noonan. Oh, yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I have two guests that need no introduction, but I'll do it anyways. Damon Farrar and Larry Burns, two big boxing fans. I've got my Hagler Hearns shirt on, and out of respect for you both, have at. Go.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for having me. Of course. Damon, let's start with you. We had a big wrestling show a couple weeks ago, and tonight we're watching the UFC fights. And when's the last time you watched the UFC fights?
I think the last time I saw it was Ken Shamrock versus Dan Severn. Supposed to be a fight of the century. All they did was really circle around each other.
Yeah, well,
You'd think where I love boxing and love wrestling, I'd love UFC. Never watch it.
That does surprise me.
But it's something I'd probably get into.
Well, you'll have to tonight. Larry's
absolutely.
Larry,
I'm sure I'll
have you in a
enjoy it.
headlock if you don't.
I just never think to order it.
No, that's cool. And like I mentioned before, you're always guaranteed a good show with the wrestling, whereas they can be duds with the UFC. Larry, we talked about this before. Why do you like the UFC so much?
It's back in the 90s, 80s and 90s. I was a huge boxing fan. Boxing was what I preferred. I mean, obviously UFC didn't come into light until, the 90s, but I started watching it, and especially the way that they had the UFC when it first came out. They just had people from different weight classes just kicking the crap out of each other. And, I mean, whoever, started the night and would win a certain fight never ended it because people got so beat up, they couldn't make the next fight. So it started out kind of like as a novelty thing that I just started watching on the black box that I had.
Yes.
That I was watching fights illegally.
Yes.
And
I don't think it's been enough time. You might be in trouble.
I might be. I don't think I might be past the 20 years, but I'm not sure. I think it's
by the
20
time
years.
this airs, it probably will be.
Yeah. So I started watching after that. I started getting into The Ultimate Fighter when that was on, and I loved the UFC. I just preferred it, and I think it was because as time went on, there was just less and less, good boxers that are out there nowadays. That I don't really watch boxing that much anymore. We went to Dave & Buster's back in February.
Yes.
To watch the Fury fight, Tyson Fury. And, that was probably
That's
the first...
his name, everybody. It's not Mike Tyson versus Fury.
Yeah.
His name happens to be Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. And, that was a great fight, but I just prefer UFC right now.
Sure. As do I. Damon, what do you love about boxing?
Larry said it's not the same as it used to be. Back in the 80s was the best.
Yeah.
Hagler, Leonard, Duran,
It's all one weight class too. It's funny because you think
Burns.
boxing now it's all, everyone wants heavyweights. They've always wanted heavyweights, but back then the middleweights were the ones that people were really clamoring to see.
And those guys would all beat each other.
Yeah.
And they all had fantastic fights. Hagler versus, Duran, Hagler versus Hearns. Hagler versus Hearns was probably without a question one of the best fights that I ever saw for 3 rounds. And at one point, it looked like that Hagler was going to have to give up because of the cut that he had, and he went out in the 3rd round and knew that and just finished him.
Right. That's why he did it. He knew he had to do it, so he did it. It's. I want to see more of that in the UFC. When you're down 2 rounds to or whatever it is, down 2-0 in the 3-round match, they are sometimes more hesitant, more tentative, when they should just be going balls to the wall. What's the difference of getting TKO'd or submitted than losing a decision? It's the same thing. It's still a loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
So put yourself in a position to win. That's what Hagler did.
Oh, yeah.
I still think he gets screwed against Leonard.
He most definitely. We were talking about, me and George were talking about this earlier. That fight, because Hagler was my favorite fighter back in the 80s.
Me too.
And I'm still struggling with that decision because I thought for a fact I thought he won the fight. I've watched the fight, and I'm not even saying this because I was a Hagler fan, but I went back and watched the fight at least like 5 times.
Yeah.
And every time I'm even more convinced that he won. But even if he didn't, it should have at least been a draw, and that he should have kept the title. I don't think Leonard did enough.
Yeah, to win the belt.
To take the belt from him.
And the other one, Leonard Hearns too. I thought Hearns was screwed in that one too.
I watched that
it was
fight.
a draw, but I thought Hearns clearly beat him.
I watched that fight with my father down here, which is now the Burns
We're in Larry's
Man
basement.
Cave. And
Larry's man cave. Sorry.
And I thought, hands down, Hearns won that fight.
Absolutely.
And Hearns was handily winning the first fight when he got knocked out.
Right. Yeah, that's what the famous line of Angelo Dundee. You're blowing it, kid.
Yep.
You know?
That was the big knock on Hearns, though, is his conditioning was terrible. I mean, you could tell, in that Hagler fight, the same thing. He was, that was early on. That was only 3 rounds, and you could tell his legs were rubbery. He was struggling.
Yeah, he wouldn't have went 12.
No, there's
Was
no
it
way.
12 back then, or was it 15?
Well,
No,
actually,
it might have been
Leonard knocked
15.
him out in the 14th. So nowadays, Hearns would have won that one too.
Yeah, he would have.
Because you're talking 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So they don't go
But
15.
same thing, he was gassing in that fight too.
Yeah.
But he was handily beating Leonard. He had Leonard's number for the most part.
Yeah. Well, speaking of gassing, Damon, you fired at work today or what?
I didn't work today.
No?
I was off.
But if
It's not
but if he
Tuesdays.
did, he
It's not
would have.
Tuesday. I love your Facebook stuff. We were just talking about you. What were you were talking about a Facebook video. What were you doing?
I was just, now that all the non-essentials are back on the road before work, the traffic going to work's a pain,
Yeah.
So it's, I post videos, sometimes with people in front of me going slow, I'll post a video singing, one of my, just started posting and just started singing, hurry up now, you slow motherfuckers, hurry up now, you slow motherfuckers.
Do. That's good stuff. No, that's
Yeah.
good stuff. If
Hey, you gotta be able to laugh at
if
it.
you're not friends with Damon, even if you don't agree with anything he says, you got to go you got to go there just to see the content. He's not quite Rex Chapman on Twitter,
Trump.
but which I don't even know if you care about
people
that at all.
piss off of that
I get the
on a
biggest kick out
daily
of
basis. Everybody
that.
chimes in.
Damon's. I don't do politics. I don't even care about politics. But Damon's only premise for Donald Trump is that his 401k is doing well,
Yeah.
which is
What else
it's
is
your
there?
right. It's your. It's,
What else is
that's your right to do that. It just cracks me up. But are you excited all for the UFC fights tonight, Damon? Do you know anything about them?
No, I was talking to one of my coworkers about it, and he was saying, he goes, you're gonna love the main event one is supposed to be really good.
Yes.
He was like, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Now, did he tell you who to root for, or are you going to make it your own?
No,
mind?
I'll definitely kind of figure out.
Okay.
I'll go with the one that's more the one that everybody hates.
See,
That's all I'll root for.
Damon's a heel. Of all your wrestlers, listen, I can't make Larry wait for your episode. Why do you hate Hulk Hogan? Tell Larry. You're talking to
Everybody
Larry.
else loved him. It's
That's the ultimate heel move right there.
Yeah.
That's it.
it's overrated. I think.
Overrated. Didn't he put wrestling WWE
Yeah.
at the time back on the map?
Yeah, he did.
He and the
he's
Sheik, right?
Biggest name ever. I gotta give him credit. There was one time I was at I met the Honky Tonk Man, and he had this Q&A session, and he asked it.
Can the Honky Tonk Man spell Q&A?
Probably.
Probably. All right, we'll
He's
give
my
it-
second favorite of all time.
Is he really?
Oh yeah.
Behind
Mr. Perfect.
after Malonis?
No,
It's-
Mr.
it's
Perfect.
Mr.
Well,
I know,
Malonis now, obviously, but no, the Honky Tonk Man. He polled the audience, and he goes, how many people think Hulk Hogan's the greatest ever, right? And people are saying, ugh. He goes, okay, how many people you guys think Stone Cold Steve Austin's the greatest ever? Everybody started going nuts, and Honky Tonk Man looks at everybody, and goes, bullshit. he goes, Stone Cold did all that with the internet. Hogan did it all without the internet.
That's awesome.
You
That's great. But it's so true because back then, and also, they weren't out every week. You didn't see them every week, and they were fighting bums.
Right.
Well, I say fighting. They were
Talent
wrestling
enhancement.
bums. That's right.
Instead of jobbers.
Damon calls it talent enhancement. He's right. That's what he calls boobs too. Talent enhancement. But no, I used to love back then, and the Iron Sheik was one of the greatest interviews. No, that was the song. You got to move like a Sheik.
Move like the dish. And
Coming
Gene
on.
Mean.
Yeah, you know Gene Mean. I used to love that.
And put Bob back on the cable clutch.
I almost guarantee that the Iron Sheik came up with Jabroni before The Rock did.
He did.
Yeah, oh
he
yeah.
did. He absolutely did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
In a real fight too, Iron Sheik was pretty tough.
Yeah,
In a real fight?
A real fight, he'd clobber Hogan. In a real
Really?
fight,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he was a tough guy. Toughest ever is Haku. Nobody could take Haku.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they say. Everybody said like he's
Legend
far and
has
away.
it.
Yeah, legend has it. He's like far and away toughest guy ever.
Wow.
Second would be like Harley Race.
Harley Race.
Yeah, they say he was.
I was never a fan of his. I don't know why. I really don't know why. He's won a lot of stuff. He's very well accomplished. Like I told I hate to keep rehashing our podcast, but the tales of the dark side of wrestling, they do a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. Like what does that do? He got killed in the ring. On
Owen
purpose.
Hart?
No. Yes, but I'm talking about Bruiser Brody
Oh yeah, that was in the back.
in the back of the in the back, and he
yeah,
got
he gets
covered up.
stabbed, pretty much cut in half.
Like I've heard,
Yeah.
I've heard of him, but I've never really knew him as a wrestler.
Tony
watching that. Good.
Tony Atlas was about 6 feet away when it happened, and he turned, walked away. He was like, he'd never been so scared in his life.
I bet.
Yeah,
And he was partners with
Rocky Johnson,
Rocky Johnson,
father of The Rock.
The Rock's dad. Now, did you watch any of the wrestling back then, Larry?
Oh yeah,
Who was your favorite back then? You can say Hulk Hogan if it was.
Hulk Hogan
Don't
was.
let David
He
intimidate
was
you.
definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just because, of what he did. I mean, he came in the way that he came in. It was like Hulk Hogan had been around, and of course he was in the Rocky movie.
Yes.
And so he was relevant. I mean, he wasn't obviously that big, and all of a sudden, like the way he came in, the Iron Sheik took the belt from Backlund, and Hogan just came in and was the savior, and won at Madison Square Garden and took the belt, and then he held it for years.
Yeah, he
And-
put wrestling on the map.
Yeah, he definitely did. But he was, as the years went on, he was one of those guys that didn't want to put people over. I mean, you could tell he always had to win. I mean, he towards the very end, after his run with NWO, and when he came back to WWE, he put. I remember a match when Brock Lesnar first came in, and he had that match with Lesnar where he got absolutely brutalized, and he started to put people over at that point. But there was a long time. Like I believe one night, Bret Hart lost to
Yokozuna.
in the same night.
Yeah, Hogan-
Hulk Hogan defeated him and took the belt. It's like, really? That's what we're going to do here? You're going to have Bret Hart lose, but then you're going to have Hulk Hogan win? So it was...
Larry, I love that we're talking wrestling while Encyclopedia Brown over there.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything. But he's like our Google.
That's why I looked to
Siri.
him, because I couldn't think of it off the top of my head, so I looked at...
He
you
had
knew exactly.
Yokozuna. You didn't-
And I was so happy when Yokozuna beat him at the King of the Ring
Yep.
in '93 that year. And I was happy when the Warrior beat Hogan at WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, the Warrior... You could say the Warrior had Hogan's number.
Yeah. Well, and then in WCW, Hogan bit. Well, I liked Hogan when he was in the NWO.
I love the NWO.
That was good.
That's my favorite of all time is the NWO.
I did
Because
like
I had
that.
lost my touch with wrestling. And then I was working in the 90s. I was working in nightclubs. And I would come home late. And I would catch the late broadcast of WCW.
Yeah, they did the replay.
Yeah. So I would catch it. And it was so funny because I'm sitting there. And I had just caught it when Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, made his first appearance as one of the outsiders. It was just him by himself, and he made the appearance in WCW. And I'm like, that's Razor Ramon. Because I never really knew him as Scott Hall.
That's Dr. Isaac Yanko.
Yeah. So I was watching that, and then, the week after, they bring Nash in, who's, Diesel.
Yeah.
And then, the whole thing with the Bash at the Beach, that's when I had the illegal box. I hate to keep bringing this up, but I watched it. Bash at the
Statute just
Beach.
ended, so you're good. It
Yeah.
just now ended. You're
It
all
just ended 3
Yeah, it was
minutes ago.
96.
Exactly.
So I was like,
It was 96.
I got drawn into it. So I
Those of you
watched
scoring
it.
at home, I'm
And
sorry.
I'm like, Hulk Hogan comes down when Sting and Macho Man are getting their butt kicked, and all of a sudden he drops the big leg on Macho Man. He was the mystery guy.
Yeah, I knew when he was coming down, I'm like, Hogan's their guy.
Yeah. And he was a great heel.
Yeah.
Now, it took a lot of talking Hogan into that. Hogan did not want to do that.
Be a heel.
For the longest time, it took... They wanted Sting. Originally, it was going to be Sting. to be the third MWO
Who would
guy.
sing for the Police?
Sting. Ah, ha, ha, ha. That's good. I like that.
Boom, boom. I was waiting. I was like, oh, come on.
But Sting didn't want to do it either, so that they had to convince Hogan to do it.
Well, heel's the best job in
Took
wrestling.
forever.
I would love to be a heel. I
Me
would.
too.
I would be a heel.
Me too.
You are a heel. How about that?
I am
Forget
a heel.
it. You don't even have to try. But heel's the best job. People love you. Even like The Rock and Austin,
Yeah.
they loved him more when they were
Oh, yeah.
heels. It's
You know,
you
like
can
the
do
$1
whatever you
Million
want.
Man back in the day. Was
DiBiase and
great.
Virgil, great.
Oh, when he kicked the basketball out of that little kid's hand as he's counting, bouncing the 15. That was awesome.
How about Roddy Piper?
Yeah.
He was the
He
best.
was the coconut with Snooker.
The Snooker.
that
yeah.
was
on.
that was one of the best moments in wrestling.
Piper's Pit. That was fantastic.
Because I was a kid then, and I
Memorable,
remember I
yeah.
was horrified watching that. Because Jimmy
That's cool.
Snuka was
With the
one
banana.
of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just to bring, we were talking who was my favorite back then. Jimmy Snuka was one of my absolute favorites, and when that I was absolutely horrified, and I hated Piper, but it's
See,
like.
it worked. It
But
worked.
because he was such a great heel, but it's I hated him, but I loved him because Piper was so
Right.
good. And then all of a sudden, you know, when he became a good guy for like pretty much the rest of his career in WCW, and he just wasn't as good as he was when he was a heel. He was such a good heel.
Exactly.
when he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's better.
Yeah, there's just certain people that are just really good heels, and
Yeah,
they
he's
should
better,
just
yeah.
stay there.
Now, Damon, you and I talked about one of my favorite wrestlers last time, and I wanted to ask us, I forgot, so I'm going to ask you now. Orndorff, okay? Yeah. He and Piper were the tag team against Hogan and Piper, Mr. T in
At
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, yeah.
But Orndorff didn't have a shtick.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah,
Or am I-
Mr. Wonderful.
He was just Mr. Wonderful. He was
regular.
like a glamour guy.
He wasn't like
But-
Hogan was, he was,
Another
he'd
phenomenal
do this
moment.
and he'd drop the leg. But
One of the greatest moments in history, too, was when he turned on Hulk Hogan. That was awesome.
But he didn't have any like.
Yeah, and
you
Bundy and stuff.
expected something like when Hogan came out. You expected the waving the finger. I'm okay. The ear. Let me hear it. And then the drop the leg. And you heard the brother. Let me tell you something, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Like you knew what you were going to get with Orndorff. He didn't like in Piper. You knew we were going to get crazy
Piper was
yelling.
great with the mic. Orndorff didn't
Yes.
have the microphone skills.
And that's what it
That's
was,
why
right?
he had Bobby Heenan as his manager.
So that's why he had the manager. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't have the microphones.
But he was great.
he'd walk to the ring with a straight look, like.
And he was a pro football player, was he not?
Yes.
And I think he was from Miami.
He was with the Dolphins, I think.
Well,
yeah,
you're
he was
Miami.
from Miami.
It might be your Emmy.
Yeah, thanks. But no, he was one of my favorites, and I don't know why, because he didn't really do anything other than wrestle.
Well, I love when he turned on Hulk Hogan. That was
Yeah,
the best.
well, you'd love it if anybody turned on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
what was his signature move?
Who won with the pile driver?
Yeah, the power
Yep.
driver was sick.
He had one of the sickest pile drivers. I mean, 'cause
Oh, yeah.
he actually like jumped in the air
Yeah.
and dropped you on your head. And then, they started outlawing pile drivers, but I see people doing it nowadays, so I guess they brought it back.
Yeah, Jerry the King Lawler was a
He was a pile driver guy. But his was kind of weak. He just kind of just fell back.
But now that's not really like a finishing move anymore. Like,
No.
Same with like the DDT. When Jake the Snake gave you the DDT, you could count to 100. Now DDT, they do it 5 times in a match, and they kick out.
And who's actually going to end a match now with a leg drop?
Right.
Well, that we talked about this also, but The Rock's elbow, the people's elbow, was a joke
Right.
to make the Undertaker laugh.
Right.
Like, that's my finishing move. This is going to be my finishing move.
Well, his actual
And it's
finishing move
stuck.
was rock bottom, and then he.
Oh,
did
that's
people's
true.
elbow.
That's true. But the people's elbow was kind of to make him laugh, and it's stuck.
It's like with Cena with the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Right.
You're not
Which
gonna
is a
end
porn
it.
move, not really.
Yeah, you're not.
But
gonna
that's right
end a
after
match with
the FU. He does the FU thing.
that. STFU.
We
like
can't do this with Damon.
Death Valley
You and I
Drive.
would just agree with everything. Damon's like, no. No. Prior to
No,
that,
he would do the 2-knuckle shuffle followed by the 5-knuckle shuffle,
equaling 8 knuckle shuffles. So there. But
and you're not getting up from that.
that's right.
At Pandemonium.
Who's your favorite wrestler? If you pick one wrestler, Damon,
Yeah.
one wrestler, who is it?
All-time favorite?
All-time.
Oh, Mr. Perfect.
Oh, you already said. I'm sorry. That's right. I did know that. Then make it your second.
Honky Tonk Man.
All right, we said that too. Make it your third.
Mr. Fuji.
Why, Mr. Fuji?
Love Mr. Fuji.
Really?
I liked him as a wrestler. I loved him as a manager.
Wow,
He was, Mr. Fuji.
Mr.
And we
Fuji.
do that bonsai, the headbutt to the groin. Or, throwing the salt. And he was...
Yeah, he was.
Fuji was great.
He
Him
was
and
actually
Saito were a phenomenal tag team.
Do you remember them, Larry?
Oh yeah.
Did you like Mr. Fuji?
I thought Mr. Fuji was great. I mean, back in the day, he was always in the running, for tag team champions with like Tiger Chung Lee and Mr. like you said, Mr. Saito, and he was always a top guy. I mean, just like I remember, like when he was doing tag teams back then. It's like the ultimate tag team back in the '80s was Afa and Sika.
Yes.
The Wild Samoans.
Yeah, they were tough. They were good.
What about
They held the titles for a lot of years until there was a certain tag team that took the titles from them.
who was that?
We were just talking
Atlas
about.
and Johnson.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, I throw him up there and he hits him.
He hit
Because Lou Albano
They're all
accidentally
softballs.
hit off over the head of the chair. He's-
accidentally.
Yeah,
Get his air
accidentally.
quotes
Name
when you
it
say
for
that,
Atlas.
Damon.
Yeah.
No, we talked about Mr. Fuji a second ago. What about Mount Fiji
Malfi, she passed away a couple years ago.
from the Gorgeous Ladies of
Yeah.
Wrestling? Yes.
He knew right away.
Right? He gives me a I didn't know. I heard she
that was
done
a great show. I used to watch that.
Did you watch The Glow on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
You-
I've seen a
you
couple episodes.
haven't?
I've seen a couple episodes, but I have Netflix, so I always figure I'd get around to watching at some point. But yeah, I used to watch it.
Thank
back in
God
the
I'm
day,
sitting
too.
down because I would have fallen if I was standing. I thought this was a softball. This wasn't. This is the high heat for him. You really haven't seen Glow in its entirety?
No, not the whole seasons. No. Like I said, I started watching them. I don't know, maybe last year, the first season. I watched a couple episodes, but I always figured I'd get back to it. But
Did you not like it? Or
no, it's not that. I liked it. I just haven't.
Wow.
I get so many things I watch and so many things like DVR
But
and
this is wrestling.
everything. I know.
Mark Maron.
Yeah, but I back in the day, I watched Glow in the '80s, late '80s, early '90s.
I stole something from Glow that I do almost not on purpose, but it's been in one of my shows, at least 3 of them. The Back in Russia. That's Allison,
Right, they
not
call
Brie.
me
What's her
Danushka
name?
the Great.
Allison. No,
Danushka.
it is Allison Brie. It is Allison Brie.
Yeah.
She was, she was the Russian lady. I forget what her name was in the show. Was it Nanushka?
Nanushka was
in
the
real
original,
life.
yeah.
But she's not called that. But that's her gig. And I think Allison.
Kiev,
Is it Allison
Russia.
Brie? Allison Brie is Captain Marvel. Who is? Brie. No, Brie Larson is Captain Marvel.
And,
I am right. It's Allison
Godiva.
Brie.
I always liked Godiva too. She was. She was one of my favorite. Her birthday was yesterday.
Why do you know that?
Wow.
She's on my Facebook page.
That's amazing to me.
Dawn. Her real name's Dawn.
What? What? See, Encyclopedia Brown over here.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. No, well, you and I we were on the Phillies together, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what.
So that's the
Greatest-
So we think. We're not sure though.
This
Greatest
is how-
little league team
hot-
of all time.
That's right. It's the dream team.
This is hotly debated whether we were on the same team or not. We were all on the Phillies. You two, I remember
I
being.
can tell you right now, I was on different Phillies teams with each of you, but I don't know if we were on
That's
there
the
together.
debate. I remember being with you. I don't remember. You and I, Damon, believe the same thing. We both
might
remember being with
overlap
Larry.
the first year.
We may have. We may have. Because Larry remembers being on with you, and he remembers being on with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't remember.
But I know we all had Mr. Zayer as the coach.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mr. Zaire, Mr. Driscoll.
And your dad helped.
Yeah, my dad helped
Your
out
dad
too.
helped
Yeah,
out a lot.
See, that I remember all
Actually,
of
first year was it 5th grade.
That's a
Second
dream.
year I was there, I pitched, and your dad used to warm me up before the game. Dad pitched to your dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember he's the one that got you into using the illegal spitball.
that. Oh, nice. Nice. The high heat.
He got you into the what is it? The bullfrog
the ball.
stuff. Stick 'em, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Filing the ball
File the
down.
ball.
He was
Oh,
always
yeah.
telling you. I remember he was the first one that came up with the expression "no mercy." So
The pine tar and the bat.
that's right.
We had wooden bats back then, didn't we?
Yeah.
Damon,
Some wooden, some aluminum. Yeah.
Damon, throw at his head.
Up it in.
But Coach Burns, no mercy.
No, he watches. Have you seen Cobra
Sweep
Kai?
the leg. Huh?
Have you seen Cobra Kai?
No, but I know what it is.
No, I know
keep
you know what
meaning
it
to
is,
watch
but Larry says it's fantastic.
I just, it's funny because people were bugging me about it. I had everybody, Larry, we know you love the Karate Kid and this and that. You got to watch it. And for the longest time, I'm like, if people would just leave me the hell alone. So just to get people to leave me the hell alone, I started watching it the other day. I actually watched it at the beginning of the week, Monday, because I had a couple of days off. I'm hooked on it.
Nice.
And there's only 2 seasons, so I just finished the first season. I'm starting the second. I got to slow it down because after I'm done with that, there's no third season until 2021. But
Trying to
oh
time
my
it.
god, I love the show.
I like William Zabka.
I have I'm not going to give anything away, but I have a whole new appreciation for Johnny. Johnny's the man. Cobra Kai. I'm Team Cobra Kai all the way.
You said you were Team Johnny outside.
Team Johnny. Johnny is
Oh,
Cobra
that's
Kai.
synonymous.
Johnny is Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Daniel cheated at the end. He kicked him right in the face. That was it.
Yeah.
At the end of Karate Kid.
Yeah, he was
Isn't that illegal?
yeah, that was
Yes.
that was a cheap
Some
move.
states.
Yeah, I'm yeah. Daniel's he's the one that cheated.
Now, to me, an underrated movie is Karate Kid Part 3. I gotta tell you, I
Who's in that?
I
Bow
really
Wow or
enjoyed
something?
that.
Who's in that?
Huh? Most people.
Oh,
don't
he
know
was
that.
in that, and that's where they
Who was
brought.
in that?
It's still Ralph Macchio because then
Yeah,
wasn't
Ralph
part
Macchio.
4 Hillary Swank, and it's like, why am
Yeah,
I
the
wasting my
next Karate
time?
Kid.
Why am I wasting my time with Hillary Swank?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a young actor?
Yeah,
in
he
that
was
too?
in soap operas after. I forget his name though. I don't know if he was in.
So it wasn't
Hospital.
Bow Wow. What am I thinking of? What did he? When did he do?
Little Bow Wow?
Little Bow Wow. Yeah.
He actually did a karate movie?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like saying Bow Wow. I guess I want candy.
I just like
Anybody get that one?
Bow Wow Wow.
Larry got it.
That was an 80s group.
Yes. I remember the video on the beach.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah, good
actually.
old, that's the original MTV.
Yes, I want my MTV.
Back when they used to have.
Said by Sting. I want my. Oh no, that is Sting.
Sting the
That's
wrestler.
Dire
or the,
Straits.
No, they do the music.
Dire
Sting
Straits with
says
Sting singing in
yes,
the background.
yes.
Sting the wrestler or singer.
I don't know.
Both.
I never saw it.
Underneath the makeup, it actually was Sting the singer.
Wouldn't that be great if they took a power wash into Sting's face and it was actually Sting underneath?
Well, didn't you realize when he was doing his interviews and he used to tell the announcer, "Don't stand so close to me"?
I just thought he was being social distancing. That's all. No?
Yeah,
I thought he was ahead of
Well,
his
it'd
time.
be cool if Sting came out with paint on his face, like Sting. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, and then they
That
take
would
it
be
off.
cool, yeah.
Either way, right. It doesn't matter. They get more out of him, I think. What else have you watched on Netflix?
Oh, geez, not a lot.
Since you're not watching Glow, I don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, it's usually I don't know. I get home at night. I watch stuff I DVR'd. My DVR is always at like 95% capacity.
Same here.
So I'm always trying to knock it down to like in the 80s. But I have things that automatically record, so it keeps going right back up.
Yeah, right.
If I don't watch TV for like 2 days, all of a sudden it's up to like 100%, and I have to delete stuff to get.
It deletes for you, right? Yeah. What is this?
It's like it's nuts.
Larry just told a funny story. He was tell about what the night you went to. You went to a Bruins semifinal game. No. You went. We just talked outside about it. You came home because you had to watch the Bruins game. Where were you before?
Oh my God! So when
I was only half listening.
when
to him,
Avengers Endgame came out
Avengers.
last year, so my sister got tickets in advance, like weeks in advance. So we were going in May, and it was a Sunday, and it just so happened that it started the movie started at 2:00, and it's a 3-hour movie, and it actually ended up being Game 2 of the Bruins Carolina Eastern Conference Finals, and I was like, shit. I'm like, there's no way in hell I can miss this game, but what am I going to do? My sister already bought the tickets. I can't bum her out, because I have to go. I can't do that to her. So I was like, fine. So I said,
Can't disrespect Tracy.
no, you can't. You can't.
I learned that in grade 3.
No, Tracy,
Why wouldn't you just DVR the Bruins?
I did.
Okay, yeah.
But the fact is that I have so many people.
Just stay off Facebook.
I have so many people that ruin games for me.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. That drives me nuts.
Like my cousin, God love you, Brian, but I have a 25.
Brian, he hates you.
Yes, I have a 25-second. Well, he listens to this podcast, so he's going to hear
Brian,
this.
I'm just kidding.
So
No, I'm not.
So there's a 25-second delay that I have for some reason, and I have the same cable. Like even Alan, who lives up the street,
okay.
I have a 25-second delay on cable, and we have the
70
same.
inches. It's gonna go through.
And we have the same cable. So I'll be sitting here watching like the Bruins or something. And all of a sudden, I'll get this big text that'll come through. It'll say "Yeah," and all of a sudden, I'll be like this, and then 25 seconds later is a goal, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, thanks. I have a 25-second delay. So then, the other night I'm watching the Patriots, same thing. Cam Newton runs it in from the 1. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to put my phone. I have to shut
Turn
it
your
off.
phone off.
So I shut my phone off. Not to get on another tangent, but I shut my
Go
phone
for it.
off. I shut my phone off, and I DVR'd the Bruins game, and I just made sure that anybody around me, like if someone would like walk by, I'm in the movies, and I really wanted to see this movie, but I was just my mind was just so focused on the Bruins because it's been a while since they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I was like, it was 2013, I think was the last time they were there before that. So I was like, I gotta focus. I gotta enjoy this movie because I really want to see it. But at the same time, that Bruins game, and I'm just worried someone's gonna ruin it. So like this guy was walking by. He needed to get out so that he could go to the bathroom. So he said, "Excuse me," and I go, "Don't tell me the score of the Bruins game." And the guy's just like looking at me with this look, and I'm like, "I'm serious." and he goes, "Okay." And he
Thank
walks
you.
by. So I'm sitting there the whole time watching the movie, and I'm looking at my watch, and I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, I'm like, I wonder what the score is. So I got home, you know, we got in the car. My sister drove. We got in the car she came to drop me back off here, and I made her shut the radio off so that they didn't come up with a score or anything. And I'm just sitting here.
Bruins. No.
Yeah, because that would happen. That's my luck.
Of course.
So I came home, and finally after that, I watched the game, and they ended up winning. And at that point, after I watched that game, I was able to think back to the movie and was like, wow, that was a really good movie. But I didn't enjoy it when I was there because I thought about the Bruins the whole time.
So funny.
That was phenomenal.
The game or the movie?
Both, but
Both.
yeah, the movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Oh, when Captain America caught the hammer, I was like, whoa, that was like biggest pop of the.
Good stuff.
I did the 22 movie marathon. For the
Yeah, you do a
Avengers.
lot of those.
You did that for Star Wars too, didn't you?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I know I sit there all the time because I always see you post on Facebook pictures
the
of
T-shirts?
tickets. Yeah, well, that too. We
The
were just
candy,
talking
the
about
candy
that.
and the tickets. Those are the best. The
You always
candy.
have like
I
the
do
same
same
poses.
pose.
Got my
I do
grab bag.
RBD, then
Yep.
I do the thing, then I point, and I point.
We were teasing you about. Well, you weren't here to hear the teasing, but we were talking because we wanted to mention it tonight about how we want to take a picture of the three of us doing the Damon pose.
Yeah, we got to do that. Yeah.
But it was funny because I love the the different T-shirts. I really did enjoy the was it Kruger Voorhees?
Yeah.
I enjoy that shirt.
Yeah.
The one that he
Yeah.
has on now is great too. He's got a Michael Myers, who I'm a huge fan of. Haddonfield Hard Rock.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, it's
Haddonfield.
awesome.
No, it's Hattonfield.
Yeah,
Haddonfield. That's
That's
where.
What is
That's
that?
where
I'm
Halloween
not a
took place.
Halloween guy.
That's where it took place.
Michael Myers.
Okay. Now, what got you?
True
into,
story.
True story. Of course it is. What got you guys into the horror genre?
Loved it growing up.
What about it though? Like what? Because you had to watch one for the first time. What brought you to it, or what kept you there?
Just enjoyed watching it late night. I don't know. I've always been a horror buff.
Yeah.
Always loved it. Yeah.
Halloween was the first movie when I was 6 years old that I encountered that scared the absolute shit out of me.
And it was the first
And
one, right?
it
Jamie
was
Lee
the
Curtis?
very first one, and I can tell you right now, I was sleeping, and I woke up, and my father was in the living room watching Halloween, and I came out and I snuck up to like where he was watching it, and it was the part at the very end where Michael Myers, where Dr. Loomis comes in and shoots him, and he falls over the balcony, and they show him, and then she asks if that was the boogeyman, and he goes, "I believe it was." And then they look back over, and
What's he, a leprechaun?
well,
I believe it was.
He
with
just
the
had
Irish-
that. He had that accent, where he's like, "Michael, go home, Michael," and he was laying there, and then he wasn't, and I just remember I screamed,
Oh, that's funny.
and my father's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Ah!" And he's like, "This is why you can't watch these things." But that movie scared the pants off of me.
And you liked it.
I loved it. And it was like I've never been into a lot of these other horror movies I don't like that much. Like I don't like some of these just like bullshit, like senseless killing, like gore stuff. But I've always been a fan of Myers and Jason,
Like the
and-
big three, Freddy,
yeah,
Jason,
Krueger.
Freddy, yeah.
I even saw like all of the updated like Texas Chainsaw Massacres, which they weren't that good. They really weren't that good.
I
but
enjoyed the remake with Jessica Biel.
I thought that was
Did Rob Zombie do that? Rob Zombie?
no, Rob Zombie redid the Halloweens. He did part one, which I really liked because it kind of showed a backstory of why Michael Myers turned out to be the way that he was. Yeah. And they actually kind of showed Michael Myers kind of sympathetic. So I liked that, but I thought part two was kind of horrible.
Horrible.
It was horrible.
And I also loved like Halloween 4 and 5. Like I love those.
You always like
It's so funny.
You always go for the fourth and fifth. Listen, I'll stick with you for three, but you better win me over.
Well, the third one was horrible.
The third one wasn't even Michael
had nothing to
Myers.
do with it.
It was that stupid mask thing.
8 more days till Halloween. Halloween. Shamrock.
He got it. That's exactly what it is. And then their faces
they
would
play
like
that.
melt, or there would be snakes or stuff coming out of their eyes. and-
Really?
yeah. It was funny because just to do a little history for you,
Sure.
the Halloween series was supposed to be a different story every single time. But it's like after the first two, people loved Michael Myers so much that the third one, that's when they started to branch off and do another story. And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, no kidding.
Bring Michael Myers back. So then he was so popular that they
People
brought
spoke
Michael
up.
Myers back. And Halloween ended up being Michael Myers. But John Carpenter, his whole, intentions was to just have individual Halloween stories.
Like American Horror Story. kind of.
Yeah, kind of like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Do you guys
but-
watch that show?
I watched.
I watched the first season.
I watched a few seasons. Like I watched the last couple. I thought the last season was good, where they kind of paid homage to the.
1984. I watched. That's the only one I've ever watched.
Yeah,
That's the only one I ever
and
watched.
that was gory. That was like nice.
I liked it.
1980s.
Missy Sinella, if you're listening, we need to talk about the new one. Sorry, gotta go.
Is there another?
Yeah,
There's one coming up.
Oh, what's that supposed to be based on?
Next one.
a true story.
Really?
It's based on a true story. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't. I just know that they're getting a lot of. See, I don't know too much about it. I only watched one season.
I never watched like the first bunch of seasons, and I heard some of them are really good. Like I heard the one with the, what was the clown's name? Twisty.
I don't remember seeing that. I remember watching the first season.
Twisty and Homie
Brother
and
Krusty.
Krusty.
Doink.
Doink. What was it?
Doink
Boink
the
and
Clown.
Doink. Who was the tag team? Boink and Doink. Or was
Doink
it?
and Dink.
Doink and, of course. It was
And then remember the Survivor
Imagine being
Series?
Dink.
Where they brought in Dink, Wink,
people call me
and
that all the
Pink?
time. Actually, what? I'm sorry.
They brought in Dink, Wink, and Pink to make a Survivor Series team.
And
to go
Stink.
against Jerry the King Lawler's
There was
team.
two in the pink, and there was one in the stink.
Queasy and Sleazy.
What is it? Breezy and sleazy?
Queasy, Cheesy, and Sleazy.
Oh,
They're
Larry's
like
out.
three midgets going against Dink, Wink,
Don't worry
and
about
Pink.
Did it come out? What happened? Larry's breaking stuff. Don't worry about it. All right, Damon. Let's talk about Larry. Oh, he's getting his phone. I thought he was going to the bathroom.
What are they telling you the score?
He's trying to check the prelims, see if it was one.
I'm back. So I'm breaking stuff down here, which is all right because most of it's mine. I don't want to break your mic
Most
though.
of it's mine. The key is to not break your stuff.
Yeah,
my
you're
stuff.
supposed to break other people's stuff.
That's right. That's right. Now, Damon, you came down from. You live in. Where do you live?
I live in Drake.
In Drake. And how long have you been up there?
I've been there 11 years.
Yeah, and
Moved there 2009.
what I remember most about you, Damon, on Facebook is your countdown to freedom.
Yeah. I have a countdown. Yeah, that was back in 2000.
You know that, Larry? Is he? Damon, you tell us.
I had a countdown. I started about maybe 150, 160 days in advance. Each day I'd count it down. And the countdown was countdown to the days my child support payments ended. Yeah?
It's a true story.
So it started like 158, 150, and my friend Pat Dillon, he's the one that caught on right away. First thing he messaged me on was he goes, "I'll go by a lot quicker if you don't count it down." And I had wrestlers as like their match would be over, and as they're leaving the ring area, they'd stop at me and say, "Hey, Damon, I've been meaning to ask you, what does the countdown mean?" And I'd tell them, and they'd laugh. And then, actually, I'm on good terms with my ex-wife, and we were obviously when I first got divorced, we weren't, but we're on good terms now. Good. And I just remember her texting me one time saying, "What does your countdown mean?"
Oh no, she knew though, right? She knew.
I don't know. I didn't tell her. I just said, Facebook fun.
That's all. I'm just counting numbers. That's all backwards.
numbers.
That's it.
Never let them know.
Sure, she figured it out.
Yeah, once you get one, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. Now I get it.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
But I'll tell you, it's like getting like a 40% raise in your take-home pay all of a sudden. It's like great.
Is it really that much?
Well, I don't know.
But was it a?
It was quite a bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like a mortgage.
Is it really?
Yeah, mine was. Mine went way up because, 1 year when we redid it, oh God, this is like back in like 2002. I had done a shitload of overtime that year, so that all got counted. I was like, oh man.
Wait, you didn't have a set amount. You had a percentage.
Well,
So it didn't
we
behoove
had
you to
a
work
set amount.
overtime, did it?
Huh? Well, it's a formula you do, and it's based on what you make.
On the Pythagorean theory.
Yeah, and but over the years though, what we did, every 3 years it gets, you're supposed to update it. So we never went to court afterward. We went to court at the beginning,
Yeah.
got everything set, all the guidelines and stuff, and then after that we just take 30 seconds talk on the phone.
So you guys were cool. That's
Yeah,
good.
oh yeah.
That's
No,
good.
we're great. We're good.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I still pay her a little now. Like, when child
That's just
support
the sex
payments
though.
ended,
That doesn't count.
I would.
You can write that off.
Yeah, I still give her $100 a pay period to cover any uninsured medical expense for us. So, and that'll be until he's 26. So it's
How old is your son now?
he'll be 24 in December. So I get.
So do we have
I'll
a
start up
countdown of 700?
Yeah, I'll start up a count because it's a double whammy because I'll save $100 a pay period, and I'll be able to drop to single coverage and health insurance. So it's like, woohoo!
Damon can't wait.
Yeah. So that's gonna be. I'll do a countdown for that.
Oh yeah,
Can't
absolutely.
wait.
You bet. And now Larry doesn't know. Now we'll all know what it is.
I'll be following the countdown.
But funny story.
Please.
When I first got divorced,
Most funny stories start like that.
yeah, I'd send checks before. what I would do is I'd send checks and I'd always write, the little memo.
Oh.
I'd write like blowjobs and lap dances. And oh man, yeah, that didn't go
that's
over
a good
too
time. That's a
Yeah.
good time.
And then,
That didn't go. I kept doing it, but it didn't
that
go.
didn't go over too well. She wasn't
Get a
happy.
sense of humor. Come on.
Yeah, and then then once we went to court, it was child support was easy for us. I just basically said, okay, give me your account numbers. I went to personnel at work and said I want this amount go to this account. And,
You just basically
That was it.
transferred it for her.
yeah,
And this
so
was
it went right into her account automatic. So
so you didn't have to talk to her.
no
just,
late-
just,
No, we
unless it
worked-
didn't show up. But you were, I'm assuming.
right, we just worked everything out. It
That's
was so much
awesome.
easier that way.
I think they show up. I've never been divorced, but
Yeah.
I look forward to it. But
I'd
I've
advise
never been-
anybody that's getting a divorce, keep the lawyers and courts out of it. Try to agree on stuff.
Oh, but
You save so much because lawyers, they're not your friends. First of all, her lawyer and your lawyer are going to know each other, and they're probably friends, and they're laughing all the way to the bank.
But you know that you're the exception to the rule there, right?
Yeah. They don't always end in good terms.
Yeah, that's great advice to do it that way. But
Right.
if you could do that, there might not be that many divorces.
Right, yeah, that's true too, yeah.
But I commend you for that.
But,
That's great.
I was lucky. Like, all my baseball cards are intact. None of my
They
card
aren't
books
shredded.
are ripped. Yeah, you see, you hear horror stories, baseball cards all bent and
It all goes back to horror,
burnt
Larry.
and, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It all goes back to horror.
Yeah, so, like, all my stuff, all my collectible stuff.
Would you get married
kept in
again?
one piece. No, never.
Well, you have a great history with divorces. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, never again.
No?
I won't make that mistake. Yeah.
That was- That's great.
All set.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Larry? Getting married someday?
Nah, I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because you don't want to, or you just because you don't have faith in the.
I just don't know if I'm the marriage type. I
You have a 70-inch TV. Of course you are.
well, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
but that's all stuff he's going to give up.
I mean, just think about it. You get married and
If you get half of it away to your wife, that's 35-inch TV. That's not bad.
a 35-inch TV. I don't think I could ever watch anymore.
Not anymore, right? You
No,
still
I mean
wear
even
it.
in my bedroom I have a 50.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah. Some people like cars. I like TVs.
And you like sports memorabilia. In
Absolutely.
Larry's basement, it's not his basement, it's his man cave. And I've been here. This is my second time being here. And there is almost, every team is represented. A lot of the players are represented. It's really something to see. We've got the lights
Amazing.
dark. That was Damon's request. I don't know why he likes the mood. I don't know what that's about, but
No, that was my request.
I know it's teasing. But it's awesome. And Damon, you were here. excuse me, as a younger a tyke, if you will.
yeah.
And what did it used to look like to you, based on your memories?
Different than this. I could have sworn TV. TV's more over there, right? And coach is here. No.
Nope. TV was always
Always
here,
there?
but the couch was towards the right wall. Yeah, the couch was always here, and there was actually like really horrible carpet down here.
I always remember the hockey net though.
Yeah,
Like,
a hockey net was out in
Play
the
floor
laundry room.
hockey inside his house.
It was awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I always remember
I
that.
was all hockey all the time when I was younger. So
And still now.
Yeah, I
And,
still
and now
love
what's it
hockey.
like to you now, Damon?
Huh?
Excuse me. What do you think about
Amazing.
it? Now? It is right. You
Look,
did a really good
this
job.
is incredible.
The bar does make it, even though he
It's
doesn't drink.
unbelievable.
brand new
The
bar.
sports memorabilia. It's
Yep.
amazing stuff.
So you couldn't get married because you're right. all
Yeah,
this,
you'd have to give that.
this room is worth.
This room would change. It wouldn't be my man cave anymore because you know that whoever it was would try to, finagle their way into making this some sort of like a she
Oh, you get
cave.
the she shed out
A
there.
woman's sitting room
Th- th-
or something.
There's a shed out back. She can have that.
Yeah,
The
she
shed.
could.
That's
She could have that. Whoever she is.
whoever's out there. You got a shed waiting for you,
Yeah,
baby.
but just don't even think about trying to. The man cave is the man cave, and it always will be that way.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. David, do you have a man cave?
Yeah, my whole apartment is a man.
Oh, that's right. Your whole
Yeah.
apartment is a man cave. You're actually trying. You should talk to Larry because he's actually trying to get rid of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, talk to him.
My living room.
Don't let me stand in the way. Go.
It's all sports memorabilia, like autograph stuff. All right. Yeah, I have a Celtics section. I got a Patriots section. I got a Red Sox section. Bruins section.
What else?
I now out in the hall. I got like Franklin Mint. I got all the collectible plates like Babe Ruth, Cy Young, Ty Cobb. All from the back in the day.
Oh, those got to be worth
yeah,
something.
I got all those. I got every one of them.
Larry gave you $20 for him.
And then in my bedroom, autographs of just women wrestlers all around the room.
So
all around the room.
who would be in that wall of fame?
I got autograph Tessa Blanchard. Sonny, Mickey James.
You know what's great about Damon?
I've met 'em all.
He'll bring their Playboy issue for them to sign. I
yeah.
love that. I think that's his.
I got them all. I got Candace Michelle signed.
Do you really?
Yeah, I got them all.
You have Sable?
Except China. She
Sable?
died. Yeah, I got Sables. Yeah, I got Tori Wilson.
Wow.
I got Oh God, I got a picture. What else I got? Maria Kanellis, Ashley Mazzaro,
I know.
Wow.
I know some of those. I don't know all of them.
Candace Michelle, and who was the other one? Oh God. Christy Hemme, the other one.
I know the name.
Oh, yeah,
who
Christy
was
Hemme.
she? Did she wrestle?
She was a wrestler early on,
Like
but then
announcer.
she became like a ring announcer.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
yeah. I met them at conventions over the years. You know.
Larry goes to conventions.
I just started going to conventions.
Tell
pretty
him
neat.
about it.
It's pretty cool.
A Comic Con. I went to my first Comic Con last year. Went with a couple of my friends. I will give them a plug again. My friend Aaliyah and Julie Sano.
Julie.
Yep. And we went to Mohegan. Nice. That's actually where I got the Michael Myers and the Jason sketches.
That is a sweet mask. That's unbelievable.
And I also got a Jason mask there, and I ordered a Michael Myers. So yeah, I give in the man cave. I also have a kind of like a little horror corner down here too to pay homage to Jason and Mike Myers.
See, I think you should wear that mask out. That's like
the Jason mask I would wear out. If
should.
you wear the Michael Myers mask and it all of a sudden just kind of looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It looks horrible on, but it looks great on the wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would leave that there. But the Jason mask I would wear out. I would definitely wear that out.
What conventions do you go to, Damon? I know the wrestling conventions.
Usually wrestling ones. I've never been to a Comic-Con. One of these years.
It's great.
Because I want to meet people like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, stuff like that.
Curtis Armstrong.
Dudley Dawson,
Was that his name in the show?
in the movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay, in the movie. Yeah, he was on Moonlighting too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But where are they? Where are the conventions that you go to?
Some of them are at the old ECW Arena in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I've been. There's this one I went to last summer, and they didn't do it this summer because of the COVID thing. But I've already paid for it. Next summer, next July, it's down in North Carolina.
Nice.
It's called The Gathering. And,
Sounds like a horror movie.
the headliner
The Gathering.
is
You never
Kevin
come
Von
out
Erich.
the way you went in.
It's not Lynn. It's The Gathering.
Kevin Von Erich's the headliner for that. He's like the one remaining Von Erich that's still alive.
They did a story on the Von Erichs and the Dark Side of Wrestling.
Wait, no, Kevin Von Erich's not alive anymore.
Yeah, yes, he's the only one left.
What?
Only one left.
I'm going to believe Damon over you, Larry, on wrestling every single.
Everyone else is
I
gone.
believe him too. I just thought for some reason
There's a
everyone was
couple
gone.
I met recently.
Like Jimmy Von Erich, the unknown.
No, wouldn't that be Lance?
Eric Von Erich.
Lance.
Lance Von Erich.
Lance was the cousin. Waldo's kid. Remember
Cousin
they brought him in at one
Lance.
point?
Waldo's kid. I still can't find that guy.
Yeah.
And,
Where is he?
I don't know. It's out there.
Another guy that passed right after, it was like months after I met him, was Kendo Nagasaki.
Who is that?
From
It's a
the
motorcycle.
AWA. Kendo Nagasaki. Yeah. With the
I
paint.
believe you.
spray the
I'm like,
mist.
that
Yeah.
sounds like a
Yeah,
motorcycle.
Kendo Nagasaki.
So people just die when they meet you.
They must. Road Warrior Animal just passed.
Yes.
Oh man.
He passed a month and a half ago. Don't forget.
Right. Yeah, about a month.
I don't know when
yeah,
this is coming
a
out,
month
so
ago.
he's been dead for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, poor guy. There's natural causes.
Was it really though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I heard.
Well,
yeah.
it was probably.
I mean,
COVID.
you assume stuff because he was huge and he wrestled,
Yeah.
but I guess they said it was natural causes.
I wonder what natural consists of with these wrestlers. I mean,
Well, I mean, a lot of these guys wrestle until they're in their 60s nowadays, so it's like they take so much damage that it's almost you almost expect it.
how old's Ric Flair?
Ric Flair is 71.
And does he still wrestle?
No.
But he's still in it though, right? Because Charlotte's
yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah.
I love Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Oh, you do too? I was
I
expecting.
think all right. Yeah.
She's all right.
I can't stand her.
You can't see. Do you really know her? No.
Yeah, she drives me nuts.
Does she? Why?
Yeah, because she
You
just
wish she drove you nuts.
she just always gets a title shot like all the time. And it's like,
Yeah, she's Charlotte Flair.
I don't know.
She's, yeah.
What don't you like about Charlotte Flair, Damon? Because you really didn't seem
I
to do
like
it.
her all right. I mean,
Because I don't really know that much about her. I just think she's awesome.
yeah, she's a great wrestler and stuff. Yeah.
But you should see her box. Oh,
She boxes.
Oh, Damon.
Oh, ha ha.
Damon. Have you been
Damn,
divorced
right
that
over
long?
my head.
Seriously?
Oh boy. Wow, my wires are a little crossed.
It's all right. That's all right. Who's your favorite current woman wrestler?
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss. I've heard
Yeah.
the name. I don't know who she is.
Oh,
She's turning Bray Wyatt.
yeah, she's turning into Bray Wyatt now. Yeah.
Oh, you know this?
Of course I do. I still watch.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's right. I thought you were off it. Though.
No, I got back into it because
I like Alexa
it's.
Bliss.
I mean, especially during after football season's over and Monday nights, there's like really nothing on, so I just started getting back into it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll watch.
Now, who's the girl with the I'm going to say this. I think she's somewhat Asian, and she's got like the paint or
Oh, Asuka.
yes, Oscar. Yes.
Yeah.
You're not
well,
ready for Asuka.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely not ready for Oscar.
She's one of my favorites.
She
too. I
seems
love
really
her.
awesome. I don't know anything about her, but I think she looks pretty
Although,
cool.
I mean, her accent's a little off-putting.
Oh,
she shouldn't talk.
She really
She
should.
shouldn't
She should have Paul Heyman in her corner.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Just have Paul Heyman talk for everybody.
Yeah, I love listening to Paul Heyman
Yeah.
talk. He puts everybody over too.
Yeah.
You know, like he really makes, no matter who, like when Brock was champion, no matter who he was defending against, he always put the other wrestler over to the point where you thought they had a chance against Brock. You know,
But they didn't.
Brock Lesnar.
you know, like even Rey Mysterio, he
Yeah.
Paul Heyman put him over.
Even Ray Mysterio wasn't over in the first place.
Well, he was, but you
But
never
he's like
thought of
3
him
feet tall.
as having a chance against Brock.
Oh yeah,
But
I see what you mean.
The way Heyman would talk Rey Mysterio up,
I got you.
He would look.
Well, you can't talk him down. He's already there.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, he's already done
Brock
it.
was always a beast, but when he went to UFC and then came back, I mean, they made him like the ultimate beast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Heyman, if you didn't like. I'm trying to think of like other people that like really didn't stand a chance against him, but Paul Heyman was
He did his
just
job. Paul
he's
Heyman did his
the
job.
best. He's the best advocate. I love listening. Like Damon just said, I love listening to him talk. He just even now he's the advocate for Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
And Roman, I'm telling you, I for the longest time couldn't stand him. Like when he first came out with the Shield, I actually liked him. And then when they, the whole thing with wrestling is when they start pushing people down your throats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where it's like, all right, I've had it with this guy.
Yeah, him and Seth Rollins, they just shove it down your throat every week. It was like,
But now they
There's
turn
going to
them
be a
both
better way to
heel.
say that, but yes, I know. what you
And
mean.
Roman Reigns is right now with Paul Heyman as his advocate. I like him as a heel. I think he's really good. So he's won me over again.
Do you think Paul Heyman is the best wrestling manager? If you had to, if Damon, you're going into a match tomorrow against your twin Brian Malonis, who's your manager?
oh, Fuji would be in my corner.
Fuji. Okay.
Oh, God, yeah. Fuji would throw salt in Malonis' eyes so quick, and I'd pin him, no problem.
Well, you beat him anyway.
Fuji.
Plus,
Whack him.
you're the better looking Malonis, first of all.
Yeah.
You're the better athletic, the more athletic Malonis. And you
Oh, I don't know about that.
no, you definitely
just
are.
amazing stuff in the ring.
I was telling Larry about the Nelly Rose food challenge that you went, and I told him how you, at one point, you kind of, you were doing a wrestling move. You suckered me in. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, what? And then 2 minutes later, it was gone. I think did you tell me the truth? Did you fake that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, see, I
It
knew
wasn't hard. It was
See,
I took my time, and it took 37 minutes.
But I was telling him I think I could have done, not in the time that you did it, but I do think it's one of the, it is doable. I think we could both do it, but
Yeah, it's-
but you crushed it. We looked at the times, and you had the
At that point, it was the record. But
Wa-
then
was it the record?
At that point, it was the
Yeah.
quickest time. But then some guy came by and did it in like 18 minutes.
It was Malonis. You should get him.
Yeah, I know.
You should get him.
Well, it's funny. Malonis' favorite manager is Fuji. Bobby Heenan.
Nice.
Bobby Heenan. So I'd have Fuji in my corner. He'd have Heenan.
Larry, who'd you have in your corner?
I'd probably have Heyman, but
Yeah, I was thinking,
Well,
but
Heyman never interferes.
I wouldn't mind
though.
having Sonny just because she was.
Sonny could distract.
oh, that's right.
But Heyman's not going to physically get involved, whereas Fuji can whack you with a cane. He
Wait,
can
wait,
throw
what
salt
now?
in your eyes. I mean, and
What kind of wrestling match is this?
you know what I mean? Well,
Fuji's whacking people.
Fuji's smart. You know, distract the ref.
He was the original good fellow.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's right. He's getting my wrestling manager is Miss Elizabeth.
Why? She did nothing.
She
I don't care.
Yeah, she
Have
didn't
you
even
seen Miss
talk.
Elizabeth?
I didn't even know she
I don't
like.
care if I get beat up. I go back with Miss Elizabeth. Who wins? This guy.
You know, Elizabeth, she overrated. Man.
Was she though?
I thought so.
Come on.
I thought Sherry was way hotter.
Sherry. she's a
Absolutely.
beast. Sherry Martel.
Absolutely.
Come on.
She had
on.
more.
She had more mileage than
Just because she could beat you up doesn't
Well,
mean
yeah,
a 1960 Chevy.
true, but she'd be better at it.
she'd be better at it.
It's like a hot dog in the hallway.
Yeah.
What's that? What's
Bat
that?
down the
What's
hallway.
that? What's that? You really think Miss Elizabeth was overrated? Wow, she's good enough for the Macho Man, but not Damon Farrar.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I liked it when she turned heel with the.
Of course you did.
And she was like,
Of
well,
course
actually,
you did.
she turned heel, went with Flair
Yes.
for a while, and she wore like the black leather and stuff. With team, and she was with Woman at the time,
Yep.
Kevin Sullivan's ex-woman, Nancy Sullivan.
She was.
She was actually killed by Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
I was just gonna
they
say,
got together.
Woman was in that thing as
She
well.
was in
with
the she was in
Benoit.
the dungeon.
Woman, man, look at her. Her eyes were just wow.
So yeah, and the,
I would take her over Elizabeth.
and the thing about that was, Kevin Sullivan was like so into roles that he made Woman and Chris Benoit spend time together.
Yes,
you know,
it's
and,
on that-
and they
it's on
ended
that-
up falling in love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That was his wife at the time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That was his wife, and he basically pushed them into it. David, you got to watch the series. I'm telling you.
I mean, I know what happened.
I know, but the stuff you wouldn't know. They're gonna get you on something. I know they are.
I might. Hey, and Kevin Sullivan thing. It was. I know everybody. And funny thing is, you hear it from now. People saying, "Oh, Kevin Sullivan actually killed them all." No, he didn't. Come on.
They used to call him Sully.
Oh my God! Is that
Kevin
that's,
Sullivan's from here.
that's
Yeah,
so
He's from
really-
Boston.
Call him
Who
Sully.
came up with that? They're a genius.
I mean, Woman is
Sully?
from Medford.
He used to go, yeah, Chris Benoit, going to donkeys, and then I'm coming to get you.
Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
Benoit. Well, there was a runner, Joan Benoit,
Yes, there was.
and I called her Joan Benoit. Take that.
And then after the whole thing with Chris Benoit and Woman stuff, Sullivan was just like, and she left me because she thought I was crazy. Well, no, that was sad.
David just went up and came right
just
down
got-
just as fast.
Well,
David just
He
got melan-
giveth,
he
he
just got
taketh away.
melancholy.
He really did.
Well,
John Cougar Melancholy over there.
Yeah.
David, one match in your entire life, favorite.
God, there's so many.
I know, you got to pick one. I'll give you mine real quick so you can
I know what
go
yours
off
is.
of it. You know,
WrestleMania 3.
Which was?
Macho Man versus Steamboat.
Yes. Why don't you agree with that?
It's in my top 5, in my top 3.
Even three.
It was my favorite for years, but
Until what? Now we're getting somewhere.
all right. The first Undertaker Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was unbelievable. And then Undertaker Triple H Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. I was there for that. I was in Miami for that.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was amazing. But no, the Undertaker Shawn Michaels had so much drama going, especially when Shawn Michaels kicked out of the tombstone.
Yeah.
And the look on Undertaker's face when he did it, he was just like
When Brock beat
Feel.
when Brock beat Undertaker in WrestleMania, was that an accident? Was that on purpose? What happened?
I was there for that too. That was in New Orleans. I had tickets for that.
Jesus, this guy. That's why he's.
I went to WrestleMania.
He's too busy driving.
I went to WrestleManias. Well, I went to the one in Boston, WrestleMania.
I was there with
14.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I was at
went
that
to
too.
one.
It's the only WrestleMania I've ever been to.
Yep. And I went to 27 in Atlanta, 28 in Miami, and 30 in New Orleans.
Nice.
Now, when Brock Lesnar pinned The Undertaker, it was stunned silence. You could
cried.
hear, you could
You
hear a
cried.
pin drop.
You cried though.
Nah. Oh.
I actually,
Um,
I cheered. I was.
Let it went the
Brock
other way.
Lesnar was
I
one
love
of my
Brock.
favorites.
Yeah, like I love when they brought him out for the Money in the Bank last year, and he won the belt back. But no, Undertaker. I guess he was concussed. He got
That's
the
what I'm getting
concussion
at. Was that
early in the match?
That wasn't supposed to happen, was it?
He was supposed to lose.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was supposed to lose, but it wasn't supposed to be. It was. He lost earlier than expected. Like
well, that's
he was
fair.
supposed to kick out at that point, and then lose later on. The only ones that knew the outcome, from what I hear, was Triple H, Vince, Brock, Undertaker, and Paul Heyman did not know.
Did the real Dave Hebner know?
He must have. Well, yeah, but supposedly Paul Heyman didn't know the outcome.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was,
And you could kind of see his face. He was kind of shocked by it.
well, that's what most people thought. Like, because
Yeah.
and especially if he kicked out earlier
kept
than he
it
was
real
supposed to. I mean, if they ended it before it was supposed to, I could see a lot of people thinking, the Bret Hart screw job.
And Brock leaned down after he pinned him. He leaned down and he whispered, "Thank you, the Undertaker." And then when he got out, he winked, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Undertaker wanted Brock to end the streak, and Brock didn't want to do it.
Right.
Is that right? I didn't
Yeah,
know this.
he didn't want to do it
Why did the Undertaker want Brock down the streak?
because he.
He wants somebody to do it.
Yeah.
But why Brock?
Well, they're friends.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they
were
are?
good friends in real life.
Oh, I
but
didn't know that.
he's strong enough to do it. You
Right.
know,
It's believable.
Right.
the Beast.
He's not going to lose to Rey Mysterio, right?
Right. Yeah, you can't do that.
And Brock didn't want to. Brock wanted to. He was an
He
advocate
didn't want to end it
for keeping
Yeah,
the
he
streak
didn't want
going.
to do it.
because he knew how people were going to react to
I
it.
know. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, you
totally
could
shocked.
hear a pin drop. It was stunned silence.
The only time I've ever been in a place where you could hear a pin drop, and this is a true story, I saw Endgame in Randolph in the stadium seating, and when Iron Man, the place was. Listen to this right now.
Iron Man's he snapped his finger.
That's what you heard. Nothing. People just sat there for like, I don't know how long, but it was just amazing because you didn't hear one child. You didn't hear someone go, you just dead silence for like at least, well, it felt like 10 minutes, but I would say at least 20 seconds, which is a long time
It is.
if you're thinking about a silence. I just did silence for 5 seconds. It seemed like forever.
Now, did you pop when Captain America caught the hammer?
You had to.
Yeah, that was like, whoa.
You had to.
Like, no way.
You did, yeah. And that's the thing. I think I was with a great crowd because they did the yes when you were supposed to. And I'm not usually a fan of screaming in movies, believe me. But it's
Me
like,
either.
but when that like when you're cheering at that thing, it was such a great experience from front to back. And the dead silence killed me. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, I'll edit this out. But yeah, right here, corner of the eye, absolutely. When that happened, no doubt.
See, the saddest moment of that movie for me was Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, I know. I wanted it to be the other one. But yeah, Damon, you of course know what we're talking about. Yes, that was a shock to me. I didn't realize that was going to happen. I did realize it, but it was like almost too late at the time. It was terrible. But and I gave you the wrong impression. Not the snap. It was when Iron Man.
Snapped his finger.
All right.
No.
Yeah,
snapped his finger.
When he snapped his finger.
Yes. What am I doing? This movie's been out for how long?
Yeah, if you haven't seen it by now, that's your problem.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
Spoiler alert.
When Iron
Iron
Man
Man kicked the freaking bucket. If
That's
you
when I
didn't
got
see the
it.
movie. That's your fault. You're a
Yeah, you
stiff.
should have
That's
seen it by
right.
now, yeah.
But that's where I did. I had a tear. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did. Of course,
I kind of knew he was gonna. So that
did you?
Yeah.
How would you know this?
I just had a feeling.
Really?
Yeah, I had a feeling he was gonna go.
some more cowboys?
I was surprised about Scarlett Johansson. I was really surprised about Captain America being an old man. I kind of didn't see that coming.
You really saw Downey Jr. though?
Oh yeah, I saw that
didn't.
coming.
And then when Scarlett went, I thought, oh well, there it is. There's the death.
No, I knew there was multiple.
Did you? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. So I'd rather not know. I don't want to know stuff.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to know
never-
stuff
I
like that
never
either.
know.
But you can't like. I didn't know who was gonna die. I just
Yeah.
heard there's death and there's multiple death,
Oh,
and I'm like,
see,
oh,
like-
go
See, to me,
friggin'
that's
screw
the
yourself.
spoil.
It
Like, why are
is.
you telling me this?
Yeah.
I know.
I never want to hear
So I'm
that.
trying to think of who it was, and I'm trying to think of who I would have been upset with if they kicked the bucket. And yeah, I had trouble. I'm like, I really don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't. It made sense though because I am.
If they all died, I would have been okay with it.
Of course you would.
I mean, I like the movie, but it's just it would have been a sacrifice for life. Thank you, Avengers, for saving us.
Well, they're avenging things. They're
Yeah.
avenging things. But Iron Man's last words in Endgame were his first words in Iron Man. Front one. How do you like that? I just brought the house down, everybody.
Yeah, you did.
Anyways, how about them Celtics, huh?
Staying alive. Yeah.
One step at a time.
I want to get back to Miss Elizabeth, how she's overrated to you.
Yeah.
That's
I
unbelievable.
just think she is. I mean, she looked a little better when she got her breast implants, but
I don't even remember her getting that.
Yeah, when she was in NWO.
Was she?
In the NWO.
He knows the month.
Did she?
They're all of a sudden bigger. Yeah. So I assume they're implants.
Well, yeah.
And just kind of like
She works
Macho Man doing loads and loads of steroids at the end of his career.
Oh yeah.
When he was in
Big time.
WCW, especially when he was in
Also, he was
NWO,
like-
he was jacked.
He was as wide as he is tall.
Too,
Oh, my
Jack. Well,
God.
how about Vince?
Yeah.
Vince still does them.
He still does. He probably does.
Vince is still in great shape.
Yeah.
No.
He still looks great.
To do what though?
No, he's not gonna wrestle.
Did you ever see Beyond the Mat?
Yeah.
I never saw it.
You never
Oh,
saw
yeah.
Beyond the Mat? There's a good documentary for you to watch.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I'll
It's
throw it on
fantastic.
my list.
I don't want to say what I want to say now.
How about the wrestler? Have you seen the wrestler?
Yes, Mickey Rourke.
Oh, I
sure.
didn't like the wrestler. I thought it was a good
That's
movie.
very, very much like an indie wrestler with their life.
Yeah.
People assume they have money and stuff like that, but they.
No, Mickey Rourke. He was at the Woburn Elks the other day. I remember that.
He was actually Mickey Rourke was actually RVD, and RVD is the new one.
Is it Larry?
RVD. Wow. Man, he's got the life now.
Does he? What?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Katie Forbes
Who's that?
is his like girlfriend, and she's in wrestling too.
She's a little too large for me, I think.
Is she?
I don't know.
Who's she?
Oh, so,
Who's? I don't know. I don't know the name. Is she?
I
Is
love
she
that.
WWE wrestling?
no.
We just lost Damon
Impact.
for a second. Just said he's like,
Yeah,
I
it's
love
like
Impact Wrestling.
Oh, look at that one.
She's Impact Wrestling. Yeah.
managers.
Yeah. This true classy woman.
Yeah, right. They all are, aren't they? Now, is she part of the Forbes that we know of? No, just
No.
it happens to be her last name.
But she's Rob Van Dam's girlfriend, and they have a girlfriend that they share.
Well,
I mean,
of course
it's like,
they do.
How do you? Robbie D's like got it perfect. He left his wife for like 20 years to be with her.
Wait,
I'm like, that's smart.
is this for real, or are we talking show?
No, this is real.
Really?
Yeah, they have a girlfriend that they share, kind of. You know?
In real life,
Yeah.
not part of the story. Because I'm thinking storyline here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and she wrestles, but I'm sure some of it is storyline, the way like she acts and stuff.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. You watch some TNA Impact Wrestling.
And it's called TNA.
Yeah, Impact
what's not
Wrestling.
to like
So
about
Access
that?
Impact. It used to
TV.
be TNA.
Oh,
Yeah, Access TV on Tuesday nights.
wow.
Katie Forbes.
I never even heard the name.
Oh,
She's jacked.
Google.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pumped and she's jacked.
Did she get jacked? Did she get pumped?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
She's pumped and jacked.
Pumped and jacked.
Pumpkin Jack. Yeah.
What do you think about the Seahawks game the other night?
I have a better feeling about the Patriots after that game than I did about Miami
I agree.
because it shows that we can play with anybody. It came down to the last play. Seattle, to me, is probably the best team in the NFC. So that tells me we can play with Baltimore and Kansas City.
But not the Raiders?
No, I think we can beat
There
them.
it is.
By now, we already know the outcome of the Raiders game. Well, we don't, but
I will
you,
say,
the listener, does.
I will say this much: if they do end up losing to the Raiders tomorrow, that's going to change a lot.
Of course.
Because they should take down the Raiders with relative ease, just based on the fact that the Raiders are coming off a short week. They're driving cross country, and they have a lot of injuries. So this is a
do have
game
a lot of
that the Patriots should be able to handle, especially at home. But the thing about the Seattle game was the fact that they came back the way that they did, and a lot of people. I listen to obviously a lot of sports radio. I have it on all day while I'm working, and just the amount of going into that game, how no one expected them to even compete in that game.
Right.
I figured Seattle was going to clobber us.
Yeah,
I really thought.
And it looked like at one point during that game that they were going to, after Newton threw the interception, and they went down and they scored. And the Patriots they came back, and the thing that you wanted to see is you knew they could run the ball, but could Cam Newton keep up in the passing game? And he did.
And two Patriots receivers had career highs in yardage.
Yep.
Edelman.
And so the surprising one is Julian Edelman.
Yes.
You would have thought that he would have had that many yards in a game
Crazy.
before.
Absolutely
playoffs,
crazy. And it's so funny because he did that with Cam Newton, not with Brady.
Right. Right.
And I'm telling you, and the question of the week has been, would the Patriots have been able to come back like that if Brady was still quarterback? And my answer to that is no. Just because of the fact that he didn't want anything to do with those receivers.
I know.
He didn't even try to, and I mean, in a way, I don't blame him because of the fact of what was going on with him and Bill. He was done. He was done here last year. And he made it through the year and he went through the motions, but he had no interest in trying to even,
Well, then how can you not blame him? Because he basically, the way it sounds when you say it out loud, is that he didn't sabotage the season, but he chose not to do the doubles.
He kind of gave up a little.
Yeah,
He did
He
give up.
chose not to. His big thing was, I need guys around me that I can trust, blah, blah, blah. You went a month without practicing with these guys, and you refused to throw to them. You admitted on Howard Stern that I didn't have trust, so I'm not going to throw the ball to people I don't trust that I can't feel won't win the game for us. So he basically said, I now have two receivers out here. And I just, the atmosphere in Foxborough is so much better with Cam Newton. I'm not saying anything bad about Tom Brady. I'm just stating a fact that the atmosphere is better because Brady left the team in such a, and they'll say it too, such a sour, not sour grapes, but you would win and Brady would be on the podium crying about it.
like I said, on the last podcast, it was like someone kicked his dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And and there was the Jets game that the Patriots was the first Jets game where they absolutely smoked the Jets. Yes. And it was, the defense was fantastic that game. And Brady at the end of the game was on the podium like they had just got killed 42-14.
Was that when Donald saw ghosts?
No, that was the second. That was the second
I
one.
remember that.
But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the Patriots ruined Darnold last year.
Yes.
So I mean, not to mention the fact that the Jets are such a dysfunctional franchise that just can't get their shit together.
Yeah, brutally bad.
But I completely agree with you. You already know my take on Brady. Yes. I think that they are better off with him gone because he's not the same.
Right. Right.
And I know everybody,
Yeah,
everybody's was expecting him, and I know it's only 2 games into the season, but you can even tell just by watching him now, he's not the same guy.
Right. And yeah, you could see it last year, and you don't always want to admit it.
Well, we were like 8-0.
I know.
8-0, and then you lose.
We had
4 games.
We did have a light schedule though. We had a
agreed.
Really,
but here's what I do know: the Bucks lost to the Saints, and then they beat a weak Carolina team. We beat a weak Miami team, and we were 1 play away from beating the Seahawks, who is one of the best teams.
You really think Miami's weak?
Also, Miami team.
I don't think they're great.
They gave
great
the Bills.
Buffalo.
Well,
they were going into the fourth quarter up in that game.
They clobbered Jacksonville.
But they lost. Yeah, they
well, the
clobbered
Patriots lost too.
Huh? Yeah, no, but right. But what I'm saying is that we beat Miami. I don't care what the score was. We beat them easily. Even when it was down to 3 points, Damon, you knew the Patriots were going to win the game. I never once doubted it for a second. In Seattle, we lost by 1 play.
They should have won that game.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Whereas the Bucks had no shot against the Saints.
Right? They get clobbered.
And
No, I'm not saying
I'm
Miami's as bad
curious
as
to
the
see
Jets.
how we're going to do against Buffalo.
Well, that's the
I
game.
think Buffalo
that's the game.
much better.
I'm calling for a split in that. I think they're going to split.
Home and home, or are they going to take away game?
Yeah, it's going to be home and home.
Yeah, makes sense.
But they're going to split, and it's going to come down to the last. I believe they're playing a Monday night game after Christmas, and I think it's going to probably come down to that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're just calling it down to the wire.
Yeah, it's gonna. Both teams are going to be really good. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Does
obviously,
loser get the wild card?
What's that?
Oh yeah.
Does loser get the wild card?
I think so.
So we're sending 2 teams.
Oh yeah,
each
both
to
teams are going to
72?
make the playoffs.
Okay.
And both teams are going to be teams that you're not going to want to play in the playoffs.
Well, true. I can believe
Yeah,
that,
but I am looking forward to, like I said, if they get by tomorrow, which they should, they're playing, their next game is, I believe it's Denver, and then it's Kansas City.
Denver's not really.
They're not terrible, but I mean, their quarterback, Locke, is hurt right now.
Yeah.
So, they got a backup.
And I mean, Philip Lindsay's still hurt.
Yes,
Yep.
as of now.
I know he's on my fantasy.
Again, don't forget we're also
Right. Hopefully he'll be back.
We're a month and a half away from.
He's on my
the Phillies.
fantasy football team. Well, he's my backup.
Hopefully the Patriots are like 4-1 right now as we're talking. But yes,
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots have a tougher schedule coming up too. I mean, they still
they're the toughest team in the league, don't they?
Yeah, they have to
This
play
year,
Kansas
of the year.
City. They have to play Baltimore.
On the road, both, right?
Yeah, no, Kansas City's at Kansas City, but they are playing Baltimore and New England.
But not that that's even an advantage now.
It's not, but
Not, yeah.
but it's still good to
You
play
wanna be
them
on your
here.
home field.
Yeah, it's still good to play them here.
I see good. I'm all in. It took me, I think, a day to be all in on Cam Newton, just because I was worried about the injuries.
He looks great. He
I
really
know,
does.
I know. But the way he brought up there was an offense. There was a quote from an offensive lineman. I think Wynn, Wynne. I don't know his first name. Isaiah Wynn or something.
Isaiah
They
Wynn.
win offensive line.
Yep.
He said that when they came in, Cam was doing his thing. You saw clips of him singing and dancing in the practice, and he was like, "Wow, this is one happy guy." And then the next thing you know, there's another happy person, and then now there's 3 offensive linemen that are happy, and now the whole line is happy. Now the whole offense and the defense, they're all just happy to be there. They're working hard, but it's a different attitude where you're not like, "Oh, he won't throw me the ball. Oh, I can't drop the ball because he's going to yell at me, blah, blah, blah." It's Cam Newton. Cam Newton said on WEEI on Greg Hill, I listened to it, they said, you know what I'm going to say, Damon? It looks like you just shook your head.
What? Oh, go ahead.
He said, they asked him, they said, because Brady said, I need more help in this locker room. Cam Newton said, the best thing you could ever say, he said, the answer, do you want new receivers, is what he said. Do you want to go out and get Odell Beckham? Do you want to get blah, blah, blah? He goes, the answer is in that locker room. And then he mentioned all of he's got nicknames for everybody.
He said all the right things.
He does, but he means it.
He's bought in.
Brady said all the right things because he wasn't saying what he meant. Brady was doing it the Patriot way. And Cam's he's talking from the heart. He's talking about he's such a team player. And I've read that Carolina players were kind of pissed that they got rid of him. Like they didn't want to say anything, but they're like, you guys kind of you stole him. You basically stole him from us, pretty much. I mean,
Oh, we're gonna have to pay him next year if we want him. You know?
we could. Well, worst
him a
case,
huge
we could franchise him. But you know what? Pay him if he's worth it.
Yeah,
The Patriots have a lot of money.
They do.
They have $37 million under the salary cap right now, and then next year they're going to have a lot of money under the salary cap.
People coming back, though.
In my estimation, they are going to re-sign him. You're going to see Cam Newton be the quarterback for the Patriots for the next 3 years. That's my guess.
If he stays healthy, you can't get rid of him. You can't.
No.
You can't let him walk away. Brady, I understand. That was a mutual thing. Look, go. We're good.
And he finally has an offensive coordinator who can dream up some good stuff for him too.
Yes.
And I wish Brady well. Like I said,
Sure.
I want him to win as long as it's not against us.
Yeah,
Yep.
You know?
exactly.
No,
I don't want him to win at all. I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that I root against them, but I root against them, and I love him.
I'm
I mean,
confused.
I for everything that he did for. There
Of
have
course.
been no Super
Of
Bowls. He's the
course.
greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
But I
But
just
we're not
don't,
talking about that,
But I just
in all
don't.
fairness.
I don't care anymore, and I'm just so sick of the hype train, and I'm so sick of hearing about this and how everybody jumps on the bandwagon of Tampa Bay being. Oh, watch out! Tampa Bay is going to win a Super Bowl, before the Patriots do again. And it's like, really, you sure about that?
I don't
'Cause
think
I'm not.
so.
And I don't think so either.
Because I mean, the defense ain't that great. You know?
Exactly. And now,
No,
do you
they
think
haven't.
going back to that point, of people buying in and people being infected by, Cam Newton, his what he brings to the locker room and people being happy and loving to play with him? Do you think some of those guys that opted out because of COVID are wishing that they didn't? Because you could tell a lot of these guys did it because they already got their rings.
Yes,
And they're
yes, of
like,
course. Why
what's
take a
the
chance?
use of me,
Right. Sure.
risking it with COVID?
There's at least one person that did that.
But now I bet you they're sitting there going, oh, man, I didn't think they were going to win, but it looks like they might have something here. And I know it's only 2 games, and they could go out and throw up a stinker and tomorrow and be 1-2, going with Kansas City on the horizon in a
Right.
couple weeks, and everybody could be losing their shit again.
Yeah.
But I think that they have something here. And he's proven it after one game, he ran it. And then game 2, they're like, can he throw it? Can he throw to these crappy receivers?
Right, exactly.
The
same receivers, except for Bird, the same receivers that Brady.
And one of the things that I thought was very encouraging was Bird getting involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
Bird, N'Keal Harry, and Edelman. Watching them do what they did, go up and down the field, it was impressive to me because yes, he can. Can they stay with Seattle, an explosive offense, led by one of the best quarterbacks in the league with some good weapons? And the answer is yeah, they could.
Do you think, and I'm not insinuating he should have played, do you think we win that game if James White plays that game?
I'm not
it's a what
sure.
if, because it would have been different. The
Yeah,
whole
I'm
game
not
would have
sure
been
what
different.
kind of difference he would have made. He would have been another weapon.
And I'm not
for
blaming
him.
him or saying, like I said,
Oh no,
he absolutely
the guy
shouldn't have
lost
played.
his.
I know. I'm just talking off the cuff here. What?
Yeah, there's no way, and he's not even playing this week.
Oh, he's out this week?
No,
Oh,
he's
I
out
didn't
this
know
week
that.
too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, jeez. But I'm not sure what kind of difference he might have made a difference. He's a
But he
good
also
player
could
out of
have
the
fumbled.
backfield.
I mean, it's not, you can't
Yeah,
play the
I
what if
mean-
game. It's the butterfly effect.
And they
What I'm
really
saying is-
didn't have much of a running game
But he can
on,
catch the ball in
on
the
Sunday
backfield.
night. Anyways, yeah, he can, but I'm not sure. I don't know if he would have made that much of a difference. I tell you, someone I'm really looking forward to seeing, who I think has great potential, is Damian Harris. Yes. And I was happy when they drafted him.
Me too.
In my opinion, he was the better running back at Alabama, better than Jacobs.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. He's obviously you got to get on the field. He'll be eligible to come back after week 3, and my guess is he's going to be. They're going to give him his chance when he comes back because right now, I mean, Sony Michel's not giving you anything.
Yeah.
And I've been on the Sony Michel bandwagon. I've loved when they drafted him. I loved him when he was in college. I'm a big college football fan. And watching that national championship game between Georgia and Alabama, Sony Michel was huge. Not only in that game, but that whole season, that whole run. You have him and Nick Chubb in the same backfield. They were outstanding. And he had so much explosiveness. And it was just kind of weird because when he went pro, I mean, I know he has problems, with his knees. And he has his whole career, I mean, going back to college. But when he came to the Patriots, I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't win that last Super Bowl without him because they basically rode the running game. Belichick reinvented the running game for that playoff run. Because in my opinion, like I was telling you the last time, that last Super Bowl in 2018 was my favorite Super Bowl that the Patriots won because they had no business being there. And then they got into the playoffs and they flipped the switch and they took out San Diego. Then they went to Kansas City and beat Kansas City in overtime, which is one of my favorite games of all time.
I agree.
That game was. I'll go back. I still have it on my DVR. I'll go back and watch it.
Damon does too. It's
Yeah.
100%.
That was
Greatest. That was one of the greatest Patriots wins of all time because they didn't win a road game that year. You know, they went and lost to Miami Miracle,
Yeah, right.
which was one of the worst games. And then the week after, they lost to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. And the week after, that's when their best receiver at the time, Gordon, gets suspended for the rest of the year. And everyone's like, how are they going to win now? They already don't have any weapons.
Right.
And they rediscovered the running game. Their offensive line was so good. And Sony Michel was a monster in that whole playoff. He was a monster. And he looked really good his rookie year. And then, you know, I've been defending him.
Yeah.
I've been a Sony Michel defender, but now it's getting harder for me to defend him.
Give him more time. Give him a little more time.
And you know what killed Kansas City that game was they scored too quick. Their defense was gassed at the end of the game. I mean, you know, it's nice to score quick like that, but man, they should have slowed it down. Give the defense some rest. I mean, because even if, I mean, yeah, obviously winning the coin toss, we marched right down and beat them, and we knew we would because the defense was just done. We would have had a fighting chance. Now, if Kansas City won the coin toss, they probably would have come down and scored.
I believe they would have.
However,
if they won, they would have won.
Oh, Kansas City? Well, but we would have had a fighting chance more because our defense is more rested than Kansas City. There would have been a slight chance we could have hung on, but not like Kansas. They were done. You know, the defense was done. You know.
See, my view with that was towards the end of that game, Kansas City figured it out, and they were scoring at will. And the Patriots were matching them, which was great because their defense was so horrible at the time. They improved last year, but their defense was horrible. And I think that because you saw when the Patriots scored, there was still plenty of time on the clock, right. and Mahomes marched them right down the field and gave him a chance to win with a touchdown with plenty of time. And, you know, the Patriots defense held and let up a field goal to tie the game, but there was so many lead changes in just like the last 6 minutes of that AFC Championship game that it got to a point where whoever had the ball last was going to win. But when they got to the overtime, I just sat there and I prayed and I said, win the toss. Because I did the same thing in the Super Bowl against Atlanta. I said, if the Patriots win the toss,
yes.
They are going down the field and this game is over. And I actually was sitting there watching the game, and I remember looking at Tiana, and I said to her, they won the toss. And I said, that's it, game over. Because we were going to go to Modell's up in New Hampshire right after the game and buy shirts and memorabilia and stuff. And I said, get your sneakers on.
Yeah.
Get your sneakers on, because
I went to one Danvers.
David, yes.
Yep. So I knew the second that they won that toss against Kansas City, I'm like, game over.
A lot of people, and I'm not downplaying that you did that, but I think a lot of people did that as well, because I know I did.
Yep.
A lot of people claim to have done it as well, and I think everybody knew. The Patriots claimed
because you
they knew it
expected
too.
that with that team,
right? And they felt the same way. We won the toss, the game's over. It's not like Hasselbeck, who says, heads, we're going to score, and we're going to win the toss and go down and score, and then he gets picked off, pick six. Remember that, Damon?
Against Green Bay.
You remember it, Larry. I know you.
Hasselbeck.
Yeah,
we've been
that
spoiled.
was great. Totally spoiled.
Well, yes and no, because you know what? Growing up, the Patriots sucked.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We were terrible.
And the thing is
so
that
many
people,
years.
these new fans, that just all they do is call into.
Are you talking about pink hats?
Yes.
Yeah.
All they do is call into sports radio stations and complain.
Yeah.
Because they're so freaking spoiled, but yet they don't remember back in the 80s when we were all younger. And I remember sitting down here with my father watching whatever game was on television that wasn't the Patriots, listening to the Patriots on the radio because it was blacked out.
Blackout,
yeah.
yeah.
And nowadays you say blackout, no one knows what it means.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could walk right in and buy tickets to Patriots back
Yep.
then.
And that was back on
they encouraged
those
it.
aluminum seats that were
those
absolutely
were
god-awful in
horrible.
Schaefer
Yeah.
Stadium.
Yeah.
I saw the Brockton Woburn Super Bowl in that stadium, and those aluminum seats. It was awful.
Terrible.
Yeah, nice and cold.
Terrible.
It was
The
disgusting.
first game that I went to ever in my life, when my father took me to the Patriots in the 80s when they were terrible, and they played at the time, it was the St. Louis Cardinals, Otis Anderson.
Oh.
Wow.
He was great. He went off in that game.
Yeah.
Cardinals, yeah.
Who's your favorite Patriot of that era?
That's a tough call. Russ Francis. I loved Russ Francis, and I loved Stanley Morgan. I was always, I've always been an offensive guy,
I met
but
Stanley Morgan last year.
but it's just tough because they had so many great defensive players too. Tippett, Blackman, Haynes,
Nelson.
I was a big
Steve Nelson.
Steve Nelson, John Hanna, obviously.
Hannah was great too. One of the, because offensive, the big hogs. I mean, they
Fred
called them the
Marion,
hogs.
too.
They
I
had
was like
Tippett
Fred
and
Marion.
Tippett.
Yeah.
Right? Tippett and
Lepet.
Tippett.
Lepet.
Was there a Tippett too?
Yeah,
Oh,
there was a-
no.
There's a Tippett and a Lepet.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Tippett,
Okay.
Lepet, and Roland James.
My
Fred
favorite was
Marion.
Mo- Mostly
Garen
Tatupu.
Barris, who lived right. He used to live right down the
I
street
had
from
him
me.
on my TV show.
Yes.
And Footstone Cable. He was on my
Greatest
TV
guy
shows.
ever.
He was.
and he used to go to my gym when I worked at the time was Gold's Gym back in the 90s, and he used to work
Woburn?
out there. And I love the guy, great guy.
In Woburn?
Yeah.
Gold's Gym Plus?
Yes.
I remember going there.
First time he walked in, I was like, I looked at, I go, Garen Varus?
Not that I spent a lot of time in a gym. but back in the early 90s,
Hey, you know
when I used to
what?
work at the Swiss Chalet in Woburn, I used to go before
Gold's
work
Gym
at Gold's
Plus.
Gym Plus.
I probably worked there.
I think I saw you there.
Yeah,
I think
I worked
that's
there.
probably when I saw. That's how I knew about the tattoo.
Yes.
I think. I
used
think
to-
the Notre Dame tattoo.
I used to be a fixture at that gym for a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I knew a girl that he went out with. And,
Garen Varus?
Yeah. And I was doing my TV show, and she said, "Oh, I know Garen Ferris." I go, "How the hell do you know Garen Ferris?" She's like, "I used to date him." I'm like, "Shut up!" Of the Patriots, Garen Ferris, or like some dude named Garen Ferris? She's like, "No, really." I'm like, "I'll hook you up with him." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." He was great. We went down to what the cable thing was on Montvale Ave.
Yes.
We went down there. We filmed it, and he was fantastic. He didn't care about it. He talked about everything. He didn't care. It was great.
Yeah, he's an absolute great guy.
And he was a D lineman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He was a great guy, and he was good.
It was good.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. But that's nothing because Damon over there meets every wrestler. They can't sign contracts till they meet Damon. And he hawks
Well,
a
football
t-shirt.
players too I've met over the years.
Yeah, because we talked about Phil. He hooks you up. Phil hooks you up big time. You know, what's the name of his?
Phil Castanet's Sports World in Saugus.
You ever hear about that, Damon? I mean, Larry.
Who is it?
Sports World, and there
Sorry.
was one in Everett too, right?
Yeah, but that's no
the one?
longer there.
Right,
He's-
but
he's
that's
in
the one.
Saugus.
That's when I knew.
Yeah, I
him.
don't think I heard of that.
Yeah, well, this guy, he knows everybody.
one.
He knows
Oh, no kidding.
everybody, and Damon goes to his shows and he meets. Whenever you see
Like
Damon
I got
say,
pictures of me and Stanley Morgan, me and Steve Nelson,
everybody, Damon,
Grogan.
go down
Grogan.
Damon's thing, and most of them are from.
I got 8 by
this guy.
10 signed by Grogan. All those guys.
Wow.
And I love that he goes, "Oh,
Steve
I
Nelson.
happened to bump into this guy walking down the street." Yeah,
Oh yeah, all kinds.
so great.
Current players like
Who's your
Jack Mason.
Who's your favorite? When you met somebody, like who's like one of the best guys? Like not like you like don't say Roger Clemens. I mean like you could be anybody, but they were so great. They were awesome.
There's been a few. Booker T was great to me.
Was he really good?
Yeah, Booker T was
5
awesome.
time.
How many?
Yeah. 5
How many?
times.
How many?
Actually, it was
How many?
6. He ended up winning another
Actually,
title
it's six.
in
but you can't say
WWE.
six.
Tatanka was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
He was.
I
really
remember
good.
him.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the name in a while, but I remember him. Or who was a dick?
I've never met anybody that's really.
Then you haven't
really
met Jerry
That's
Lawler.
great.
It's I mean, when you're paying to meet somebody, they're not going to be a dick to you because you're paying to meet. It's the only time you really hear horror stories is if you run into them in a restaurant or something. Like
Or an airport.
yeah, or an airport. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've met Jerry.
I was
Lawler. He all right.
I was at the Boston Comic Con and I met Jerry Lawler and he was a complete dick.
Well, he didn't like you.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah. He
'Cause I
said,
introduced myself. No,
he said that because he said back then, he goes, "You're going to, someday,
that's right. This day
you're going to have a podcast
Yes,
and
You
you're
did.
not going to invite me on."
Were you there? Yeah, that's what
Yes.
it was. Because it was word for word what happened.
Yes. That's what I figured.
A couple other guys were great. Bobby Hull is one of the nicest people.
Bobby Hull.
Bobby Hull was great.
Ah, where'd you meet him?
Mansfield Card Show in Mansfield, Mass. He was great. He'll talk your ear off too. Like as you're walking away, he's still talking. He's like,
Bobby, enough. We get it.
no, well, not like that. But he was great, and he had stories. So,
I get it. You were a great hockey player.
no.
and he talks.
You
to,
signed my
a bunch of
card
people
already.
At a time. Oh yeah. I have signed a puck and an 8 by 10 and
He was like,
Yeah.
don't go.
I had asked him.
Did you sign your Playgirl issue?
No.
With
Yeah.
Bobby Hull.
I had asked him back then when we traded for Adam Oates.
Yes.
Remember Oates was
Oates
he
and
had
Gianni.
said he was going to try to talk Brett Hull into coming to the Boston Bruins. Oh, that's what he said when we first
that.
got him. So I asked Bobby Hull just for shits and giggles. I go, how close was Brett Hull to come?
Don't tell me.
Well, he was. he was like, yeah,
So it was as close as we were led to believe.
Yeah, it wasn't really. You talk about it, you get the juices flowing, thinking, oh, that would be cool, having Hull and Oates in Boston, Neely, But yeah, it wasn't that close. But it's funny when he said, because they're like, in my opinion, the closest father-son comparison in a sport. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as greatness, like, like Barry and Bobby Bonds, Barry was better.
What about Griffey?
Griffey Jr. was better than Griffey Sr. Bob Greasy was better than Brian. But Bobby
Gordy
Hull,
was definitely better than his kids.
Who?
Gordy Howe.
Oh, absolutely.
All the Howe brothers. Like three of them.
Best
that
of
played.
all time.
But Bobby Hull goes like that. He says, I love my son Brett. He goes, phenomenal, Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats. And he just leans forward. He goes, but I was better.
Do you believe him?
Yeah, it's slightly better.
Slightly, yeah.
I think it's slightly.
Brett Hull was really.
He goes, I'm honest.
He was good.
But he said, I was better.
I was better. That's fantastic.
He was like, another great one to meet was Mark Van Egan,
I don't know.
former
Who's that?
Raider Patriot running back.
What's his name?
Mark Van Egan.
Van Egan. I've
He played
never.
for the Raiders and the Patriots.
What
another
years?
great, loves to talk. He was
What years? Ballpark.
late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, okay.
He ended his career in New England. He was a running back for us for like 3-4 years.
We've ruined a lot of careers.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, huh? But no, he was another one. Real talkative, nice guy. And when it's funny with 8x10, I didn't pay for the inscription. He wrote everything. He writes a novel when
he
he
really?
signs. He signs
He's
everything.
happy to be
Super Bowl
signing.
champ. This, that. He writes all different things. Same as Stanley Morgan. He did that too. He wrote.
He was
like,
number 86,
all
right?
all his inscriptions.
Was he number 86, Stanley Morgan?
86, yeah.
Fryer was 80.
80, yeah.
Who was Cedric Jones was 83.
That's right. Cedric Jones.
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
I met Cedric Jones. There was the Patriots. Some Patriots alumni played.
I think it
at
was
Stone
Don
High.
Hasselback was 87.
Yep.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else have you?
Russ Francis was 81. Right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I haven't met
Grogan and
Roland,
Easton are easy. Did you ever meet Mosi Tupu?
No.
I loved him too.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites.
Roland James.
That
I
guy
met.
was nails.
Did you really? How's Roland James?
He was good. He's another one. He'll write a novel on when he signs you.
What's your ideal autograph? Meaning inscription.
If I'm meeting
Like, do you like the novels? Like, do you care about the
Oh
novels?
well, it's cool when they write like Stanley Morgan wrote Two Damon, all the best Stanley Morgan, and he wrote like whatever is like 10,000 something receiving yards, 3-time Pro
Gives you
Bowl.
stats.
Yeah, he wrote stuff like that.
In case you forget how awesome I was, here you go.
Yeah, that's
The first football player to have my own shoe.
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah, I always like stuff like now. If I'm meeting a Celtic, what I'll have them sign for inscription, they'll write to Damon, bleed green.
That's what you tell them to
Yeah,
write? Why?
bleed green.
Okay.
I don't know, Celtics green. Bleed green.
Well, yeah, but you don't tell the Patriots to bleed red.
No.
Well, you would anyways,
No,
so
yeah,
you don't need to
right.
tell them that.
That's true.
Right,
It's
so
implied.
You meet Paul Pierce, have him
Bleed
write
silver.
bleed green.
Bleed green. I'd want the truth. Sign the truth.
You
So-
could.
Have they all done it for you?
A couple of them have. The ones I've met have.
Does some
I didn't
flat
start
out
doing
refuse?
that like what's his name?
So if you met Bill Russell, you'd say, "Listen, Bill, this is how it's going to go down.
Bleed green.
You're going to write to Damon, bleed green."
Well, I'd have him write 13 time or 11 time champ.
I'd say, Mr. Russell, you write whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Sam Jones pretty much wrote whatever he wanted.
Is that right?
Yeah, Sam Jones wrote like 10-time NBA champion,
10-time,
top
10-time,
50,
10-time.
because he was in the top 50 of the greatest players.
Was he really?
Sam
Yep.
Jones, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I met him. He wrote that. Sat Sanders wrote like 6-time All-Star or something.
So you find that most do.
Brian Scalabrine,
Do you ever get somebody who just
The
signs
White
his name?
Mamba.
Yeah, he was cool to meet.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy to Scalabrini.
Oh yeah, Scalix. He seems like he's a legitimate good guy.
Well, the picture I had taken with him, it was before I learned how to crop pictures. So it's like
I still don't know how to
we're
crop
like in the
pictures.
middle. So now I crop everything. So,
crop everything's cropped.
So what I do, I make it tighter. Make it,
Right, yeah. They come out so much better.
Because the picture with me and Scalabrini, I mean, I've since cropped it, but when I posted originally on Facebook, it was you could see like all the
It was a
8x10s
Polaroid.
and all the everything on the side. Well,
Larry and I were talking about Polaroids earlier today.
Polaroid.
That's what I said.
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3.
When he goes up and asks Thunderlips, he's like, hey, can I have a Polaroid?
Sure.
It's like, no, it's like, so embarrassing. It's like, Rocky, no one asked for a Polaroid. Get out of here.
Still love that movie.
Oh, me too.
3 and 4. Oh, 4 the best soundtrack.
4 did?
Yeah,
Yep.
for music.
Robert Tepper.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking at the time, man, Creed
There's
had
no
that
easy way
coming.
out.
No shortcuts home. What are you going to say, David?
I remember
Sorry.
thinking, man, Creed had that coming.
What he
All
Rocky
all
IV?
the shit talking he
man,
did
he
before
should've-
the Russian.
Yeah, he should have kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
This guy was a killer. You had to know he was a killer.
And then you could just see his whole expression change when he puts his gloves on. What do you need, an interpreter? You know, so the,
Yeah, when he hit it and his hands
he
don't go
didn't
down.
move. He's
Yeah,
like-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could see it in his eyes, like, oh, all right.
I made a huge mistake.
If he dies, he dies. And he sure did.
Who wins in a fight, Drago or Clubber Lang?
Lang. I love Clubber Lang.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love
Well, I don't know.
Lang, but
I changing your
but
mind?
Lang was small. If
So what?
Drago would have smashed him. He was so juiced
Oh,
up and.
stop.
Are you
Clubber
kidding me?
Lang coulda-
Drago would have smashed him.
Come on.
He would have smashed
Just
Clubber.
because he was smaller?
Yes. Well, because he just. I'm telling you.
It's Mr. T, man. Come
No,
on.
I'm telling you right now.
Shut up, old man.
He
I
was.
love Mr. T.
How do you
Drago
not?
was a beast.
Clubber Lang was a beast.
And if it wasn't
He
Rocky's movie, he would have got absolutely destroyed. He would have
Both
got killed.
times, yeah.
It would have been worse.
Because Mickey loved him. No way.
You know what? Mickey was a slut.
Oh!
Mickey loved everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
Too many people, yeah.
Listen, Mr. T predicts pain.
He did predict pain.
He did-
but you know what? He got complacent in that second fight, and he shouldn't have lost. He
did.
should have been champion for years.
Yes.
For years.
Yeah, up to and including over Drago.
But he got soft in that second fight because the first he was a
Rocky got
monster.
soft.
Well, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Rocky was
You
fighting
knew when you
handpicked.
do the commercials.
He
Yeah,
was fighting a
bums.
bunch of handpicked
Bunch
bumps.
of Spider Ricos.
Mickey was setting him up for
He
him.
was. He was
So do you
setting him
really
up.
think that Mickey loved him? Because he was.
I don't think so.
That's a good point.
I don't think Mickey loved him.
You won me
Mickey
over.
was carrying his career, and he had him fighting a bunch of bums his whole career, and then he went up against the real deal and lost.
Yeah, he showed his wife a real man, too. That was
right,
nice of him. That was
If
nice.
she ever wants to see a real man, just go home with. Even though he had those
With him, yeah.
those feather earrings that made him look, less than masculine.
Less than
Yeah, but
masculine.
that Mohawk, man.
Oh, the mohawk was badass. That's the after people saw that, everyone wanted a freaking mohawk.
Do you ever see?
I wanted a mohawk.
Yeah, well, I had one.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, I didn't. Did you ever see the movie Penitentiary? It's one of Mr. T's earlier movies.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, and not many people did. It's a piece of crap to be honest with you. But when Rocky III came out,
So did it take place in a circus? Or?
yes, it actually is a circus penitentiary. It's when you're throwing popcorn, like throwing things into the ring. You can't do that. They take you to. It's like Patriots jail at Foxborough when you get the drunk tank. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. But no, he did a movie. He's the same kind of guy. He's in penitentiary. It's a badass. Hilarity ensues. The usual.
Oh, nice.
First time I saw Mr. T other than Rocky 3 was an episode of Silver Spoons. Remember? Ricky Schroeder
Are you
brought him
kidding
in.
me? Joel Gray and what's that woman's name? Erin.
Aaron Gray.
Oh.
Gray.
She was on Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
She was.
Am I wrong about Joel Gray then?
Don't you remember Ricky Schroeder was being bullied by Ox? Remember the kid? He took everybody's milk money, so the Edward Stratton, whatever, hired Mr. T to be his bodyguard
Is
to
that
go into
right?
school with him.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, Mr. T.
That was. I'm telling you right now, Silver Spoons, great show.
That and DC Cab.
DC Cab.
I have that on VHS.
I love DC Cab. I want to get one thing straight. I don't work on January the 8th because it's Elvis's birthday.
Then A Team.
B.A.
That
Baracus.
came after, yeah. B.A. Baracus, yeah.
You think Rampage was a good B.A.?
I loved Rampage's BA.
Better than Mr. T?
Well, Mr. T made it,
I know, but you can.
but I thought Rampage was great just because
Rampage was great.
I'm partial anyways because I'm a big. I've always been a big Rampage fan.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite UFC
Like
fighters.
the video game Rampage?
That was a great game
that
too. The movie with The Rock, I didn't think it was that great, but the video game was fantastic. It was one of my favorite games back in the 80s when I used to go to arcades and stuff. I love Rampage.
Mine was Gauntlet. Back in the
Gauntlet
day.
was great too.
Loved Gauntlet. I was always the elf.
But I used to like all the old pro wrestling games back then too.
Yeah.
What pro wrestling games?
They had like I can't remember the names of it. I know there was tag team wrestling, and then there was this
like
other
arcade games?
Tag team wrestling was
Yeah,
Spike
like-
and Jocko going against something the Maulers, the Mad Maulers
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
Why are Maulers always mad? Why can't they be happy Maulers?
Well,
they need to have Cam Newton.
something
That's what, then
made
you're a
them-
happy Mauler.
something made them mad.
I know, but
Any sort of life events.
certain life events, right?
Yeah. Divorces, I don't know. Maybe their wife kicked them out.
Damon, Damon was happy.
Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah. Well,
You
sometimes
gotta
it
get a
happens.
countdown to
Freedom.
happiness.
Freedom. Oh,
Countdown to freedom.
there's nothing.
America.
It's nothing like it.
It's not like
I mean,
freedom.
you get to do whatever you want. I mean, how do you?
We're just a couple of bros sitting down here,
Yeah.
6 feet apart with no masks on. We're enjoying our freedom.
Like I'm too self-centered to get married. You know,
You are
like,
pretty self-centered.
I am. I know this. I admit it. You know, I don't think I could get married again.
You did? How long were you
I
married?
know I did.
But how long were you
I was
married
too
for?
young. I was married for 3 years.
In a row?
Yeah.
In a
I
row,
know, huh?
yes.
Total
Yeah,
3
it's a
years.
good streak. I thought it was more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it was 3 years.
Wow.
He was married for a year. He took a year off, and then he came back.
Listen, we'll take a break.
Yeah, I'm
Go
gonna
back,
take a year off.
keep the streak alive.
And then you know, once I did, I was like, never again. You know,
How long did you go out with her before
3
you-
years. Yeah,
So 6. You were with her for 6.
yeah,
But you
totally.
only married for 3. Did marriage was it marriage that did it? Like
think
when,
so.
like when you sign, what happens? Because when people sign that paper, they say it's different. What is the
Yeah.
difference?
Like the Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn thing, I think works better.
Well, if it's working for them, right? And I understand that too. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But what is it about signing that paper? Because most people say as soon as we got married, it was. How could it be different? You just wake up the next day, don't you?
Yeah, like I don't know. I just there's too many things I like. Like some of our fights would happen. Like you know, I can remember. God, this one I want.
She played with your wrestling dolls, didn't she? That bitch.
Yeah, that too.
I knew it.
was like,
I don't do.
You know, but
Never play with a man.
I remember that back then.
never
I
do
worked
that.
overnights. I had Sunday, Mondays off. Monday nights, I'd be watching wrestling or whatever. She'd be like, "Oh, come to bed." I'm like, "All right, hang on. Let me just put the tape in the VCR and record it." And she'd get all pissed. Pissed.
I think that's respectful.
I think so too.
I will go right
Yeah.
now, but I'm going to tape
Hang
Mr.
on, let me
Wonderful.
record it so I can watch it live.
right.
Hang on, I'm gonna go in my car with my A-track.
Yeah. You know, and then I go, but I got to go back down at 11 so I can
Yeah.
switch over to Nitro because they do the replay of Nitro at 11. You know, she'd be
Which
like,
I know well. I used to watch
Basically,
it.
hun, you get 30 seconds. Go. Make
Yeah.
it happen.
But yeah, and like I love sports, and you know, hey, she didn't, like it would be crap like
But she knew that going in, though.
exactly.
She's not.
She was a wrestling fan before we got married, and then supposedly I ruined it for her because I'm obsessed, so she didn't like it. Like the one
ruined
person she
wrestling.
loved Bret Hart, but
Who didn't?
But yeah, but then after she hated wrestling altogether because of me, because I ruined it because I watched
You're a
it
ruiner,
constantly.
Damon.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You know, Damon's going to turn heel. The wrestling ruiner.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
ruiner.
We're going to get some
But, like,
overalls.
You know, like September would come and she'd be like, say shit like, "Oh, let's go apple picking." And when do they want to go apple picking?
During
Sunday
wrestling?
around
Football.
1 o'clock. Let's go Sunday afternoon around 1.
1 to 4. We'll wrestle.
No,
we'll go
how
pick
about
'em.
we don't? How about you go get apples and come back big pies?
Knock yourself out.
But like, we go to the mall. My idea of going to the mall was different. Her going to the mall. She, "Oh, let's go to the mall." I'm like, okay. Okay, I'm going to go this way. I'll meet you at in the food court for lunch. I mean, I go do my thing. I don't want to stop at like all these silly stores. I want to go to like the stores I want.
What's a silly store that you had to go
I
to?
don't know, like the children's place or whatever that has like the kids' clothes, or she wanted,
So she was
buy
going.
stuff for the kids.
So she was going to the mall for your kid.
yeah,
And you're going for.
I go like to
David.
look at video games or the sport, or she'd want to go to, I don't know, just whatever, like the candle shop or whatever.
Oh, Yankee Candle.
Stuff like
Shops
that.
at Yankee Candle.
Well, I do if I
Definitely
want.
not me.
That's a go-to gift for like to get your stepmother or your mother.
At least, I mean, seriously.
yeah, when you don't know what to get like the cookie scented candle.
You ever see those people that have like 20 jars of candles? You ever see that? Like, seriously, what are you doing? That's
ridiculous.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Larry.
you gotta go and get. That's like it is a good go-to gift when you don't know what to get someone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
For those
candle.
who don't care, I don't care too much about you. Here's a candle.
Yeah, here's a candle. Or
Do you like sugar and spice, or would you like lemon instead?
Yeah, there you go. Another go-to.
I'm talking
gift.
about Larry the whole time.
By the
you
way,
don't know this.
I have a.
You don't.
I have in the next room over. I'm a candle hoarder.
Okay.
I have about 40 candles. I actually just gave.
He gave
I
me a
just
sugar
gave
and
to it.
spice.
I
but
gave him a
traded-
choice
I
of what he
traded it for
wanted.
lemon.
Okay.
So I'm glad you didn't know because you,
Hey,
you said-
I'm a guy that likes things that smell nice. What
nothing
can I
wrong
tell
with
you?
that.
Absolutely.
That's why you're next to Dan.
I should probably have candles in my apartment. Probably, because
I have a nice pumpkin candle burning right now as we speak.
You're in the right place.
Because
It smells delightful.
So what's your favorite?
my
store?
apartment probably smells like a gym or something. But
A guy named Jim or an actual Jim?
I don't know, like
Smells like Jim.
because I'm in it all the
Or
time.
a
It doesn't
Jim
smell
dandy.
to me, but I'm sure other people walk
Oh,
and
it
go,
smells like a Sunday.
it smells like whatever.
It smells like a Jim Dandy.
Smells like ass in here.
Smells like it smells like farts.
Well, what stores would you want to go to while your wife is shopping for your kid? Where
I don't
where
know.
would you be?
Go video games or like comic books. And sports memorabilia stuff. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then let's meet at the food court for lunch.
That's what I always. Those
my
are the
idea.
stores I used to like to go to.
Yeah.
Or go to
But you never took one for the team.
Too many times. You go. It's like,
Well, once isn't too many.
and
times.
it kills you. Like they always want to stop and want to look at everything. It's like, they're holding their bags. It's like, I don't go to the malls anyway now. It's
Sometimes you just gotta wait outside.
too much crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Another go-to gift to get somebody you don't know, like a Barnes and Noble's gift card. You know, everybody goes and buys a book. You know?
That's true.
The biggest gift to give someone you don't like is a chia pet. Nothing says I hate your fucking guts like a chia pet.
You want to laugh? I got one for Christmas from my sister.
Well,
And I know she hates me, so. Truth.
I'm not saying a word.
Well, my sister hates me too, but
You have a sister?
yeah, she was born later on, like
Like what, 4?
she was born in '86, probably.
Really?
Yeah, she's like 14 years younger than me.
I don't think
You should probably just remember my brother Travis.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Remember Travis?
yeah. My sister Courtney, she's a few years. Well, it's just 14 years younger than me.
She's the unknown
Yeah,
Farrar.
yeah,
I've never heard of her
right, exactly.
I haven't either. That's funny.
That's a lot of people.
from parts unknown.
I mean, like Dave Brown know who she is, because I never lost.
The
contact.
Dave Brown from grade school.
Yeah, Dave Brown.
I actually,
I talked to him all the time.
Dave, how you doing? He actually sent me.
He doesn't listen to this.
I told him to send you a friend request.
Yeah, he
'cause
did.
He wanted to know about John Carcani.
Yeah,
He
yep.
always liked Carcani. So I go, ask Larry. They were neighbors. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, so I told him to send
Yeah, he reached out to me, and I actually talked
Yeah.
to him for a few minutes. Dave,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, great guy.
He's a doctor now down the Cape. He's going to be like my last few years of work. He's a rheumatoid arthritis. He's a rheumatologist. So I'm thinking rheumatoid arthritis. He can get me a note. I got arthritis in my arms, or leg, whatever. I don't know.
I got notes for
I got a
him.
good FMLA for.
I got a note from Epstein's mother.
That's right.
Yeah.
I still turn in. Epstein's mother's a great girl, great lady. I still turn in notes from her.
She writes them all the time.
That's right.
She's got arthritis from all the notes.
Got the arthritis,
the arthritis, the diabetes.
the diabetes.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. It's the right thing
Diabetes,
to do. Oh no, that's Quaker Oats. That's what Wilford Brimley did, the Quaker Oats, and he did the diabetes.
Diabetes. Diabetes.
Oh, diabetes.
And the Quaker Oats. It's the right thing to do. And you know the thing is,
Who else grinds my gears?
he just died this year. He was, I don't know. I think it was like 80 or something. But I'm thinking to myself, that means back in the 80s, he was only like in his 40s or maybe 50. He looked like he was 80
He
there.
always
Yeah,
looked
yeah,
the same.
Yeah.
Always looked the same.
He
it's
had
like,
all
what is up
formaldehyde in him.
And he always wore that stupid hat. And he was on that
The
show,
mustache.
Life Goes
the
On.
Big soup strainer. Oh, yeah. It was Corky. Yeah.
Corky, and then he was in Cocoon, which was probably the
Cocoon.
worst movie ever.
Oh.
Worst movie ever.
I sat
Wasn't
through
Cocoon
that
too?
one time. Oh, I was dating a girl years ago. She made me watch it. I was.
No wonder you hate women.
and
Yeah.
and he had the one part in that movie where he said, "And we'll never grow old." It's like you're 40, and look at you. Don't you tell me, Wilford Brimley.
That's right, Wilford Brimley. Take that.
I'm Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
You guys hungry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to call it? Anything else, David? Any more good stories?
Meldrick Taylor Chavez. No.
Oh,
I remember we were going to talk about that before.
That's
we
right.
Did,
You wanna talk
no,
about
whatever
it?
you guys.
no,
want.
Wanna hit it
go
real
ahead.
quick? Go
yeah,
ahead.
Yeah, sure.
You want to do that? Do that.
Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think of it? It was phenomenal. Taylor won. Like,
Well, what are we talking about? Because we just kind of abbreviated it. We're talking about what fight and when.
Meldrick
boxing.
Taylor, Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez and Meldrick. And another thing, like we hit on the early in the show, we hit on the boxers of the '80s.
Yes.
And stuff. And
So
another group was like Chavez and Taylor,
Pernell Whitaker, my favorite.
All those, I love Whitaker. So,
Pernell Whitaker is one of my favorite fighters of all time, and he got screwed on 2 different occasions in fights.
the majority draw to
He
Chavez.
beat Chavez. He was the
He
first.
beat De La Hoya too.
He did beat De La Hoya, and
beat
that's
De La
another
Hoya.
one that absolutely sucks because that guy, man, he got screwed out of so many fights, and he was such a great boxer. I loved him. He was one of my favorites. I loved him when he was in the Olympics. I always rooted for him. And he was a great professional, and he was the first guy. I don't care what all this bullshit history says.
Sure.
He was the first guy to beat Julio Cesar Chavez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, majority draw.
Yep,
I remember
which
that.
was crap.
And one of the judges had Whitaker win, and the other two had a draw.
It was,
I mean, Chavez though hung on way too long. I think Chavez should have hung it up, like really, when it, around the Camacho
I agree.
fight. When
he had the opportunity to retire undefeated, and he just
couldn't stay away.
couldn't do it.
Like him and De La Hoya. Those weren't. I mean, Chavez in his prime would kill De La Hoya.
I agree with that 100%.
Same with I know I always argue this. When Tyson fought Lewis in 2002, Tyson in his prime would never lose to Lewis.
It's
Never.
funny that he said that because I had the same conversation with Mike Novia, who I'd like to give a shout out to the men's room where I get my hair cut. This fantastic head of locks that I have is because of the men's room in Stoneham. But this actually came up because we were all talking about where we were when Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas.
I know where it was.
And we started getting into like all the heavyweight bouts going forward after that, like Holyfield and Riddick Bowe, that trilogy. And, then obviously we started talking about Lewis, who in my opinion was one of the greatest heavyweights of that time. But he fought Mike Tyson when he was washed up.
Right.
And if he had fought Tyson when he was not to I'll get into the other point that I have on this, but if he fought Mike Tyson when he was in his prime before Customato passed, before Tyson became soft because Customato was gone, and that's when Tyson started to lose it because then he had all these people in his ear, and he lost his mind. But if he was hungry like he was when Customato was still managing him, was still in his corner, Lewis wouldn't have had a shot. He would have destroyed him because he was an animal.
Tyson was just unbelievable. And the other weird stuff was like Riddick Bowe and Ray Mercer. They're two great. I met Ray Mercer last year. He's another great guy. Yeah. Ray Mercer is one of my favorite people I've met too. And Ray Mercer and Riddick Bowe hated each other, but they never fought.
Yeah.
And you'd think they would have fought. I think they were both afraid of each other almost.
I hate you, but I'm afraid of you.
Yeah. Same with like Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis. Never fought.
Nope.
They fought in the Olympics, but didn't fight. It was like they all avoided each other. The two people I found heavyweights avoided were Ray Mercer, because he would have had to go 12 rounds because he couldn't knock him out. He couldn't even knock him down. He was like
he's an iron.
Almost, yeah. He couldn't knock him. And Tim Witherspoon.
Yep.
Because he had that right hand that he could knock you out at any time. You know, and you could win a decision with Witherspoon more than you could Mercer. Mercer, when I met him, he said the biggest thing about him, the way he never really got knocked down, was because it's not your chin, it's your eyes. He goes, the punch that knocks you down is the one you don't see.
Yep.
Oh, that's true.
He was knocked down once. It was against Lewis.
Is that right?
But I don't even know if that wasn't much of one.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like the Burt Cooper Holyfield knockdown.
Yeah. And same with like when Rodan knocked down Hagler. That wasn't one to me. Rodan. That wasn't like
that was a cheap knockdown.
That was a slip. Yeah.
That wasn't even a knockdown. And everybody made a big deal out of it because just the first time that Marvin Hagler was knocked down.
Yeah.
Because that guy, Marvin Hagler was such a beast.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I mean, he wasn't knocked down. He was barely ever hurt.
Yeah.
And he just came at you, and he was just so he was the best.
Yeah, I agree.
He's my all-time favorite.
Mine too.
Even against Hearns, like when the doctor looked at him, he wasn't hurt himself. It was the cut.
It was the cut that was going to stop it.
It was, and the doctor was going to stop it.
Exactly, that's what it was.
He knew at that point.
Yes.
He knew at that point he had to end the fight because the doctor was going to end it.
Yeah, he wasn't hurt.
And he went out and finished the fight.
He got
cut. Greatest 3 rounds.
Hearns went after him the way you should, though, with Hagler.
Oh, yeah.
Leonard ran for 12 rounds.
Friggin' hated
Sugar
Ray Leonard, I could not stand Sugar Ray Leonard.
Like I love when Camacho knocked him out in the 5th.
Yep.
I was so happy. And it's bad then because Camacho never knocked out anybody.
Yeah.
Really.
He was a bum then.
Yeah, and he knocked out Leonard in the 5th.
Now, what do you think about Damon? Your worlds are going to collide after tonight because they're talking about a Conor McGregor versus Manny Pacquiao fight.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see Conor McGregor box.
No. I mean, you knew Mayweather was going to beat him.
I think Mayweather carried him.
He did carry him.
Because, I mean, the last, 2.5 minutes, McGregor didn't throw a punch because he was just done. I mean,
because
you can't go into that.
Floyd knew how long Conor McGregor's fights only lasted 25 minutes. And in boxing, that's what? How many rounds? 9 rounds, or
any ranked boxer would beat Conor McGregor in a boxing match.
Yeah,
and anybody in the top 25 would beat him.
Yeah, and he just carried him, put him in where he's never been before, and then he beat him.
And then there was talk about Mayweather fighting McGregor in UFC.
Yeah, which that's never going to happen.
Although, I think Mayweather would have a chance.
I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have a chance at
James Toney, Randy Couture.
Well, you don't think with Mayweather wouldn't have to wear gloves, so his punches would be a lot harder.
James Toney fought Randy Couture.
Yeah, and everybody
in
said the
MMA.
same thing.
And Couture took him down.
destroyed him.
And yeah, it
Good.
was.
Oh, okay.
I'm
It
telling
went
you right
exactly
now.
the way you think it would go down. And same thing in boxing. If Couture fought Tony in boxing,
Get his ass kicked.
exactly.
Oh,
You can't.
You're going into another man's backyard.
yeah, you can't. You can't do that.
And that's why I'm
you
saying
don't
if it ever comes to it, Mayweather will never put himself in that position because
Exactly.
he's too much of an asshole to let himself lose or put him in a situation where he might actually be challenged. So he won't do it. Even though everyone would be like, okay, fine, you lost, but you're not a mixed
You have a
martial
built-in
artist.
excuse.
Yes.
Conor McGregor's stock went up after the Mayweather fight.
Even though it shouldn't have.
Right, of course.
Now, did you guys ever see Mayweather's uncle Roger Mayweather when he fought?
I never saw him fight.
He fought back in the 80s and early 90s. He was a good boxer.
Yep.
Entertaining. Not as good as Floyd, obviously.
Yeah,
but
right.
I saw him against Chavez, actually. He was winning early, and then he ended
And he
up quitting in
wasn't-
like the 10th round against Chavez.
Yeah, that's when Chavez was amazing.
Yeah. And then one thing Mayweather did, too, was when he came out to... it was on the undercard of the Sugar Ray Leonard Donnie Lalonde fight. And he came out to Jive Soul Bro. That's slick.
That's so funny, Donnie Lalonde. Oh my God, that was
No, I
that was
didn't
when Sugar Ray fought for the light heavyweight championship,
Yeah.
and he actually won.
Yeah, he won. Knocked him out. But Donnie Lalonde was like
He was a bum.
one-handed fighter.
Seriously,
He only had a left hand. He
looked like Wayne Gretzky. And he was Canadian.
Wait, is that a compliment or not? I don't even know.
I would say no.
Gretzky.
Not that I have anything. I love my brothers and sisters to the north of the north. Love them, but he had no business. He looked like he was actually Wayne Gretzky, and I was like, "That's Wayne Gretzky." But
That's not. There's evil twin
He
brother
did look a
Dwayne.
little-
yeah, and he got
Has
destroyed.
Canada had any heavyweight champions?
Yeah.
Who?
Let me think.
I'm not doubting you. I'm just
wasn't-
asking.
Wasn't Lennox Lewis considered Canadian?
Yes.
He was British.
British.
He was
I thought
British, but he's
Canadian.
from
Via Canada?
Yeah.
No.
Bobby
Razor
Chaz,
Ruddock.
you think it was Bobby
Razor
Chaz?
Ruddock wasn't champion, though. Razor Ruddock was Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Razor Ruddock had so much hype.
Yeah. I
He
thought
had
was
so much hype, and then when he would get in the big fight, he'd get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tyson thing. Oh,
But yes, Razor Ruddock.
I loved him, too.
Yeah, I was a big fan. I bought
And
into
I was
the, to the
disappointed
hype,
when
and then he got killed.
Lennox Lewis knocked him out in like the second round.
Yeah.
I thought for sure Ruddock was going to beat him, too.
I'm almost positive that Lennox Lewis was Canadian.
I think so, too.
How?
I don't know. I thought he was, too.
Well, I mean, we were just
He was from
talking.
London, wasn't he?
Ruddock, Michael Dokes. I mean, Ruddock almost killed him in the ring.
Michael Dokes.
Yeah, Michael Dokes was good, too.
He was good.
Remember Mitch
The
Blood
Bone
Green?
Crusher Smith.
Mitch
Bla-
When he
Yeah.
challenged Tyson in a street fight,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then Tyson punched him in the face.
Yep. The cover in his eye go
That's
like that.
great.
And then
So-
James Quick Tillis.
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember James Quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was Lennox Lewis is British,
Okay.
but he represents Canada.
So is that's like when we watch the UFC coming out of Florida via Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
You'll hear that tonight, Tim. You'll love that.
Yeah,
Now,
you'll hear a lot of that tonight.
and
All right.
we just talked. We would talk about this. A woman from the UFC, Joanna. What's her last name?
Jacob Waititz.
We're gonna call.
Let's call it JJ.
She just we call her JJ.
One of my favorites.
And she had her face. She looked like the Great Gazoo. She got beat up.
She had a hematoma on her
And
forehead.
it reminded me of Hassan, but it's worse because it's her whole
Rockman.
face. Hassan Rockman, when he had
Yep.
that it looked like a helmet sticking out of
Yes.
his head. You know, of course, you remember that. Like, imagine that.
That was, what was that? Headbutt? Rockman against Holyfield? Was
I
that
think
the
so.
Big,
I don't
big,
remember.
huge thing?
That was crazy though.
Those are the only two times the two losses, he just got got hit with a bomb
Yeah.
both times.
Yeah.
Rockman just cleaned his clock, one punch.
Yep.
Didn't
And
Oliver
Oliver
McCall beat?
McCall
Oliver
Yes.
McCall
Yes.
knocked him out
Yep.
too.
Knocked him out, and when Lewis got up, he was just like
Yeah.
he was out of it. They
And I
stopped
remember
it.
watching that in utter shock. But
Yeah.
I didn't like Lennox Lewis, so I was cheering for McCall.
So you liked it.
Yeah.
And then in the second fight, he had a nervous breakdown because he was
That's what-
psychotic.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I
started
was gonna
crying.
ask.
Crying in
He's
the
the
ring.
guy that cried in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then Mills Lane was like, "There's no crying in boxing." Mills Lane, one of my
Mills
favorite
Lane.
refs.
Mills
You ready? You ready? Let's get on.
He,
always
he
did the
did this,
thing with
right?
the nose, yeah.
That guy was tough as nails too.
He was. He didn't take any
He was
crap
a
from anybody.
judge.
Yeah, he
That's
was.
right, Judge Mills Lane.
Yeah.
Judge Mills Lane, yeah. Wow. Judge. And then, I always liked him. And Richard Steele. Like Cortez.
David
too.
hates Richard. Oh, Joe Cortez.
Joe Cortez. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I know that you said earlier that you didn't like Steele because you didn't like the decision for the Meldrick
I went
Taylor
back
fight.
and forth. I remember being mad, thinking Taylor got screwed at the time.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But the guy ran out of gas.
Yeah, looking back now,
And he was never the same
right.
after that.
correct. Because Meldrick
wasn't.
Taylor never made it to the press conference after. There was he was vomiting blood, peeing blood.
Yeah, and then he
It
just
was
started
a
losing
mess.
fights after
broken bones around his eye sockets.
And he was undefeated.
Broken
He was
spirit.
great.
Yeah, Chavez
kicked
hit him
the
with the harder
crap.
punches.
Yeah.
And did a lot more damage than we all thought at the time.
And then he took it in the last round, and I was so disappointed because I was just at that point, I just wanted Chavez to lose.
Yeah, we were. I was watching with David Brown. Actually, watching over my house, HBO.
That's Dr. David.
Yeah,
Brown.
Dr. David Brown, rheumatologist down the Cape.
Mention my name. Get a good seat.
Yeah, would you like to give him a plug?
Guy on the
David
Cape,
Brown,
Dr. David Brown.
rheumatologist.
Rheumatoid arthritis. If you have that, go see him. Rheumatologist. That's how I'm getting my FMLA the last few years of my working career.
I'll edit that out. Don't
Hopefully.
worry about it. I'll edit that out. Don't worry about it. Larry, got anything?
I'm good, man.
Done enough boxing for you?
Yeah, it was fun.
All right.
We'll see it. We'll see it when the third one happens.
That's right, exactly. Guys, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for having us.
So much.